With profound humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 2 of 4.
Etc.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds. Heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
हमारे कार्यक्रम पेश किए जाते कई भाषाओं में कृपया देखें suprememastertv.com/schedule.
I realize the vegan or the vegetarian food that is served, nobody can ever say no to. It is something is there for everybody. It is kind of a common denominator.
Please stay with us to enjoy this illuminating Congress.
Want to make this world a more peaceful place for all to enjoy? Be vegan.
Today's program will be presented in English with subtitles in Arabic, Aulacese, also known as Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Korean, Mongolian, Persian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Thai, and Ukrainian or Uranian. Gracious viewers, Tarhib Dafi. This is an Arabic expression for warm greetings. I am Noor. The generous people of the United Arab Emirates appreciate your compassion for all beings and join you on the benevolent vegan journey. May heaven bless you for all your kind deeds. The United Arab Emirates, located along the Persian Gulf, is a nation that cohesively unites its 7 emirates, with residents originating from over 200 nationalities. The United Arab Emirates is a wonderfully diverse land. In the Emirate of Dubai stands the Burj Khalifa, a building whose 2,700-foot height makes it one of the tallest in the world, as well as the Dubai Miracle Garden with its exquisitely detailed flower arrangements. Masdar City in Abu Dhabi uses solar energy as the major power source and is the world's first carbon-free, zero-waste, and carless city. The United Arab Emirates is also supporting a trend toward organic and hydroponic growing to increase healthy food production while reducing water and power needs. There are now more than 50 organic farms in production, many of which offer educational tours to the public. Culturally, poetry is considered a top art form in the United Arab Emirates. One of the most famous modern-day Emirati poets is Usha bint Khalifa al-Suwaidi, also called Usha the Poet. Her poetry encouraged a revival of the style known as Nabati, a poetic tradition practiced by regional cultures for centuries. Many of Usha's poems have been popularized as songs and inspired the work of many younger female Emirati poets. In December 2010, the first ever Middle East Vegetarian Congress was held at the Dubai International Exhibition Center. with the public invited to engage in an interactive exploration of the plant-based lifestyle, organized by the Middle East Veg Group, or Meveg, supported by the Middle East Natural and Organic Product Expo 2010, and endorsed by the Dubai Health Authority of the United Arab Emirates. The event provided 2 days of seminars, workshops, and video telecasts with experts from around the world, along with rejuvenating veg cuisine. In addition, Supreme Master Qinghai, vegan, was specially invited to speak via live video link on being a vegan and environmentally sustainable food choice, followed by a question and answer session with attendees and the launch of the Arabic edition of the international best-selling book, The Birds in My Life, which was already sold out pre-launch. The Birds in My Life was printed by United Printing and Publishing, a subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Media Company, or ADMC, owned by the government of Abu Dhabi.
Be veg, go green to save the planet, yo!
We now invite you to join us for part 1 of the conference titled The First Middle East Vegetarian or Meveg Congress, held in the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates on December 6, 2010, with an introduction of the esteemed speakers for the first day.
I realized that I needed to do something radical in my life, and the only thing that I could actually make a change in was my diet, because I was taking all the medication, everything, and nothing was having an impact. And that's how I got into exploring diets. And my program on television was also called Food Cures, how we can at least reduce the symptoms of our ailments if we can't actually eradicate them from our life. So that's a little bit about me, and I think we should just launch off the Congress and see and have fun for these 2 days. We are going to be here. So do you think it needs to be very formal? You know, everybody's sitting all the time. We just need to relax a bit, enjoy the ride. There'll be amazing food at the break times. There'll be a workshop by Lo Yao as well, where he's going to tell us about smoothies and stuff. There's a lot happening here. Just to launch it off, could I request Dr. Henry to please join me in this panel here. Joy would also like to please join us here. All right. Excellent. Please, ladies and gentlemen, come. Settle down. We are just going to launch off. Rather than me talking about the Middle East veg or Meveg, I'd like Sandhya to please come and talk a little bit about Meveg. Sandhya, I came to know that her name means twilight. I thought that was very, very interesting and romantic. And she's an amazing person. She's the energy. She's like a dynamo of the car.
The environmental sustainability part, where we never wasted anything. If the milk came home, it was the milk vendor who brought it. It was never plastic bags or anything. But we knew how to use every bit to the end. Then I grew up and went to college. It was in a desert. And that desert, in the deserts of Rajasthan, I think planted something that the last 17 years I've been in the Middle East, which is again desert from Saudi Arabia to here. But this is a very, very different kind of place where we have not only the environment, but also a very beautiful social conglomeration of people. 200 nationalities in one city. We need to give the city a big round of applause. UAE, 200 nationalities and each one of them, just here to share. Now, socially what happens is, we keep inviting a lot of people for dinner, right? Each one of us. We go out for dinner, we eat together. But is there one common food that when you serve, nobody says no to. What is that? And when I started thinking about this, when this thought came in my mind, and I was looking at it, I said, okay, I've always served vegetarian in-house. I happen to be born vegetarian, and I've never, had anything else than that. But then I realized the vegan or the vegetarian food that is served, nobody can ever say no to. It is something is there for everybody. It is kind of a common denominator or a common subset. And this particular thought really stayed with me for the last almost 4 to 5 years. And what you see today is bringing together that kind of people. We have people from Malaysia, Iran, UK, India, UAE, everywhere, come together. And what is going to happen in the next couple of days is that society coming together. It's that call for the first time that is happening. The third point, which is very important and which has come to hit each one of us very closely, is our health. If we don't care about the environment, forget it. If you don't care about neighbors and socializing, forget it. But at least we care about our health, each and every one of us, our near dear ones. We have the highest diabetes, we have the highest obesity, blah, blah. A lot of media has been splashing things. But the fact is they cannot be saying that without some truth being there. So it is so vital, if nothing else matters, that little thing called health, without which neither can we smile, neither can we do anything, neither can we, have jobs or try and fulfill our dreams. That's the health. If not for anything else, you need to try different types of foods that we are ingesting into our system. It is absolutely important to pay attention to it today, just for ourselves and for the future. So on that note, I would just like to let everybody know that these next 2 days, full of seminars, interactions, very, very lively. This is not a very, very formal thing. It's informal to a great extent. Please feel free to put up your hands and ask questions. The people we have chosen here and who are coming to speak are people very down to earth. They are connected. They're connected to themselves, they're connected to their societies and to their families. So please put your hands together for each and every one of you who's decided to be here. Yeah? Great call. We also have workshops happening, and the other thing is we wanted to weave food into the morning. So every food that you have will have a story behind it. So there's vegan food, very lovingly brought to us by Loving Hut. The cooks and chefs have flown in from Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and they're going to cook in the DWTC kitchens for us for tomorrow. We have World Trade Center, Radhe who's catering for us this morning, and Barakat, who have into fruits and vegetables. All these people have just come on their own and said they are going to give us the experience of food. At this point in time, I'd like to highlight, and please have my volunteers stand up who have worked tirelessly over the last year. Please, volunteers and the rest, please stand up. Ekta, Amit, Bonnie, Ram, Fazil, Rohit, Zofi, a lot of them, etc. at other places. And you'll see a lot more of them coming in. Many are at work, so we have divided ourselves into a couple of days. So, really, really big thanks to all of you. And I'd like to leave the stage to Zofi.
Thank you. I'd just like to introduce the panel we have here, who have, we wanted their presence here so that we could launch off the Μeβeγ conference. First, I'd like to introduce Wafa. Wafa Hilmi has an MSc in Food Science and Nutrition from the Clayton University in the USA and a BSc in Public Health Nutrition from Medical Alliance Sciences, Young University, Georgia. From 2003 to 2009, Wafa has been head of Clinical Nutrition and Dietetics Department at Russian Hospital, the Public Health Authority. Since 2009, she has been a Director of Clinical Nutrition Department, Clinical Support Service Sector, DHA. Since 2006, she is also a part-time lecturer in the Faculty of Allied Health Sciences, Sharjah University. A round of applause for Wafa, please. And I was having a very interesting conversation with Professor Hendrik, and he's written a book which says what doctors don't get to study in a medical school. And I thought that would be a very interesting read, We all do a bit of all these in our house, and we have no clue. Frankly, I think doctors don't have a clue either, but we'll talk about that at some other time. But Dr. Herge is an affiliate professor of human health at the University of Northern Colorado since 2002, chairman at Bihar State Health Society Expert Committee, but now member of Postgraduate Medical Education Board, Government of India. He has invented 2 new diagnostic methods in medicine, which were published in Britain. These diagnostic methods reduce the cost of expensive investigation in many cardiac problems. You know how our medical bills keep piling up? He certainly has some good ideas about it. And Tony Blair's secretary also was very interested if those things could be used for their National Health Service as well. So that is a bit about Professor Herge. So George is a long-time hospital administrator working with Abu Dhabi Health Services Company, SEHA, since 2007. His diverse experience in healthcare services over the past 50 years gives him an insight to the ways most people are failing to observe the basic lean habits. I think he has a patent on this particular word, lean habit. He will tell you a bit more about it himself. He's been working for like over 20 years in Saudi Arabia. He's very aware of the Middle East culture, and that is why he can connect with all kinds of different diverse personalities. And before graduating from UCLA in 1973 with his master's in hospital admin, George received his undergrad degree in psychology and economics from University of California, Santa Barbara. He's also been in the military service, and growing up in a military family, he began his expat life from birth, living overseas most of his life in Panama, Germany, and the Philippines. And George is also a marathon runner, which is, it inspires that within us as well. And that's just a little bit about our panel here. We declare it open. Sandhya, with your permission? Excellent, excellent. Let's have fun, guys, for the next 2 days. I would first like to welcome Vafa here so that she can share her views with us as well.
Morning, everybody. Thank you, Mevej, for inviting me. I'm involved in a very short notice. I hope my introductory for the program for today and tomorrow will be beneficial for everybody. And I thank you all for being here with us. I hope you will find it interesting. My slides, I think most of you have seen, and you know, because I believe it's not the first year you're doing this. You have been for quite some time. So many informations are repeated, but we highlight them more because we want to put more emphasis on the reflect of having veg and fruits in our daily requirement. Although we have been in the market for a long time, still people doesn't have the recommended daily vegetables intake and fruits. Okay, while we are talking about the benefits of eating vegetables, and I never liked technology. It's one of the reasons of obesity. I swear, people doesn't know.
While we wait for the presentation to load, I read a very interesting poem today, just 4 lines. I won't bore you with it, but it talks about us human beings and our priorities in life. And it says, what fools indeed we mortals are, to lavish care upon a car, with ne'er a bit of time to see about our own machinery. So we are, I don't know in what illusion we live, that why don't we care about our bodies? And another person said that our bodies are actually our autobiographies. And sometimes don't we see it written on people's faces? You know, sometimes liver spots, sometimes something else, sometimes just plain fatigue. So whatever we are eating is actually having an impact on our lives.
There are many ways to help, but the easiest and quickest is something we do every day 3 times a day. Stop eating animals. The rainforests are being burned to raise cattle and plant more and more food for them, all for meat consumers. Just go vegan. It's that easy. Olive Art Vegan.
Earth-loving viewers, we appreciate your presence today for the first Middle East Vegetarian or Mevej Congress on Words of Wisdom. Please join us tomorrow for part 2 of this inspiring conference. Coming up next is Food Crops at Risk of Extinction Due to Global Warming, part 2 of 2, right after noteworthy news. May world vegan, world peace soon become a reality for all to enjoy.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds. Hell not rich.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
With profound humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 4 of 4.
Etc.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds. Heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
That if we increase our vegetable intake, we have very good impact in weight reduction, in type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and in maintaining our health.
Please stay with us to enjoy this illuminating Congress.
Even an idiot like myself can figure out that torturing, abusing, and then murdering a friendly animal, such as the pig, is maybe something that we should not participate in. I've lived the past years without the animals as food, and I am doing just fine. I feel great. Tommy Kane, vegan.
Today's program will be presented in English with subtitles in Arabic, Aulacese, also known as Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Korean, Mongolian, Persian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Thai, and Ukrainian or Uranian. Hayyak Allah. I just said, Allah bless you in Arabic. Loving viewers, my name is Noor. The amicable people of the United Arab Emirates support you on your quest for spiritual enlightenment. May Allah guide you on your journey through life. The United Arab Emirates, located along the Persian Gulf, is a nation that cohesively unites its 7 emirates, with residents originating from over 200 nationalities. The United Arab Emirates is a wonderfully diverse land. In the Emirate of Dubai stands the Burj Khalifa, a building whose 2,700-foot height makes it one of the tallest in the world, as well as the Dubai Miracle Garden with its exquisitely detailed flower arrangements. Masdar City in Abu Dhabi uses solar energy as the major power source and is the world's first carbon-free, zero-waste, and carless city. The United Arab Emirates is also supporting a trend toward organic and hydroponic growing to increase healthy food production while reducing water and power needs. There are now more than 50 organic farms in production, many of which offer educational tours to the public. Culturally, poetry is considered a top art form in the United Arab Emirates. One of the most famous modern-day Emirati poets is Usha bint Khalifa al-Suwaidi, also called Usha the Poet. Her poetry encouraged a revival of the style known as Nabati, a poetic tradition practiced by regional cultures for centuries. Many of Usha's poems have been popularized as songs and inspired the work of many younger female Emirati poets. In December 2010, the first ever Middle East Vegetarian Congress was held at the Dubai International Exhibition Center, with the public invited to engage in an interactive exploration of the plant-based lifestyle, organized by the Middle East Veg Group, or Meveg, supported by the Middle East Natural and Organic Product Expo 2010, and endorsed by the Dubai Health Authority of the United Arab Emirates. The event provided 2 days of seminars, workshops, and video telecasts with experts from around the world, along with rejuvenating veg cuisine. In addition, Supreme Master Qinghai, vegan, was specially invited to speak via live video link on being a vegan and environmentally sustainable food choice, followed by a question and answer session with attendees, and the launch of the Arabic edition of the international best-selling book, The Birds in My Life, which was already sold out pre-launch. The Birds in My Life was printed by United Printing and Publishing, a subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Media Company, or ADMC, owned by the government of Abu Dhabi.
Be veg, go green to save the planet, yo!
We now invite you to join us for part 2 of the conference titled The First Middle East Vegetarian or Meveg Congress, held in the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates on December 6, 2010, with Dr. Wafa Helmi Aish, Director of the Clinical Nutrition Department for the Dubai Health Authority, who explains the importance of following the recommended daily intakes of fruits and vegetables for optimal health.
Over to you, Wafa. Thank you. She's really a good talker. Very nice presenter. I'm gonna talk about the benefits of vegetables and fruits in our daily requirements. There's so many benefits, and I cannot list them in a very short time. Each veg or fruit has its own effect on our body. But in general, we can see that even protect us from reduce the risk of heart diseases, type 2 diabetes, obesity, and so many people, even the people who have hormone disturbance due to the phytochemicals which they consist, so many effects, so many benefits. Due to their fibers, due to their vitamins, due to their minerals, due to their role in our body. Do people eat enough fruits and vegetables? No. We don't have statistics in the Arab world, but we have statistics from Canada, UK, United States. 2/3 of people aged 12 years and older eat fruits and vegetables less than 5 times a day. The recommendation now even increased to 7 per day. We don't even reach 5. People does not take 2/3, which is quite a lot. So we don't have that statistics here. But why that people doesn't eat?
There's so many reasons for that. Some of them, they said, we don't have time, lack of plan, it's costing a lot of time, of money, we don't have them in our home. My parents they didn't get us used to have the veg in our daily. It's too expensive, so many reasons. But in all these reasons, we have to know that most of the barriers can be overcome with a little bit of knowledge, a very good attitude, and a bit of planning. Now, when we talk about fruits or vegetables, what are the tips that help us to have fruits and vegetables? We always try to take them in compensation of high energy density. Due to what? Because they have fibers. And fibers, those vegetables are lower in calories. They have high fiber that can substitute the fruits and vegetables with higher density to help us to control our weight, to make our type 2 diabetes controlled better, because due to the fibers, the insulin resistance and the insulin works more. And a little of knowledge about the serving sizes. Very important to know the goal that we need to have from 5 to 10 servings. It depends on the individual age group and how much they should take. And they should adjust this from one or more than one serving in fruits and take it a step to the right direction. When we talk about the servings, these are the servings. When we talk to people to educate them and to let them understand what we're talking about, when we talk about a medium-sized piece of vegetables or fruit, we tell them, the tennis ball, it's equal to that tennis ball as dietitians. We have to talk something that people understand. Not just to tell them, take one serving of vegetables without explaining that servings equals what. When I talk about 125 ml or half cup of, what kind of cup? It can be 240 and it can be 450. So I have to show them when I talk about 125 ml that it's like the computer mouse size. This is something visual they know about. When we talk about 250 ml or 1 cup of green salad, it's like the fist size. So something they know, something they can measure by their own hands. 50 ml of dried fruit, a golf ball. 120 ml of real fruit or vegetable juice, it's a small juice glass. This is how we tell them by the hand. When we talk about a fist, a thumb, a palm, a thumb tip, or a handful, we show them on reality how to measure their intake and their serving. Now, a good attitude, I said a knowledge, a little bit of knowledge, a good attitude. When we talk about a good attitude, we can have all the vegetables in our food. In UAE, the vegetables are endless, and all year we have them, whether veg or fruits. So we have a country which is rich of vegetables that can have the variety. And also, we have so many websites nowadays, we have so many cookbooks available, bookshops all over the year where you can have them even in a very good price. And we try to even manipulate with the recipes to go with the calorie intake for the people who want, whether type 1 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, or even obese. Little planning to save time, we can pre-cut them and frozen the vegetables and then take them when we are in a hurry. We can even take hand one or simple dessert as in the last. Now we have that fruits, we have yogurt with fruits, we have so many fast-taking desserts that can save time and at the same time give me my initial serving of vegetables. Also, if you can go on the go of the time, you can keep some dry fruits like dates, for example, or figs or peaches, which are very healthy, very rich in their nutrients, and really can be a very healthy snack. Also, a little bit of knowledge on the coast. Try to buy the vegetables on the season where they are, not on the season when it is very rare, because they could be very expensive. And again, in UAE, we have it in the market all the year. try to buy it at the same time. We have also farms in Al-Zayd, in Ras Al Khaimah, in Al-Ain, where you can buy it from the farmers themselves in the price, which is not very expensive for you. Also, a day of life eating more vegetables. You can check these slides. What we can do, we can have a breakfast. We can start with a 100% fruit juice. We can take with us, we can add to it frozen berries, cherries, strawberries, and slice the fresh fruits to the series, add them and take them in a fast, easy, prepared to be taken, which doesn't take a lot of time. We can, about juice. First of all, I have to make sure that it's 100% fruit juice, not syrup, not when they talk about drinks or cocktails, because they're not always 100%. We have to read the labels, what's the ingredients, what is the content of that, to make sure that we are having our 100% with no additives or no sweeteners. In lunchtime, we can even, on our vegetables, we can have a small salad, we can have tomato dip with low-fat dessert. We can even, if we are eating out, include the vegetables in our salad instead of having French fries. We can increase them along of that to increase our intake of our vegetables. At dinner time as well, we can have the hummus. We can have as a dessert, as a dip. It's a very good one. We can have a cut of fruit such as mango, pears to the salad. As a dessert, we can have cucumber, carrots with a low-fat dip in a fast, healthy dinner time. For snacks, always we try to buy individual fruit cups, or we can keep dried fruits in handy that it doesn't be affected with the heat. You can have them anytime, they can last for a long time, and easy to be accessed and easy to keep. Now, when I talked about low energy density, I said we have to compensate by vegetables because they are low energy density. Fat always increases the energy density of our food. When we have vegetables and fruits, they have water and they have fibers, and both of them increase the volume and reduce the energy. So it's a very good compensation for people who wants to control their type 2 diabetes, for people who wants to control their weight. And it is very important to include them in our daily content. And if whoever wants, the USDA website have all the information about this. Now, when I talk about vegetables, there's so many studies have been done on these vegetables and their importance. Jefferson's and their colleagues have so many research. I'm gonna just mention 5 of them where are fast and have a good impact as studies and proven. And my slides will be here. The content of the research and the studies are done. Whoever wants them, they can have them. The first one, it's a very good and important vegetables intake to control the weight for weight management people, and it has been proven out of 22 studies, 20 of them have proven if you increase the intake of vegetables by 14 grams of fibers a day, it has shown that people have reduced their weight, and people who have reduced their weight, they maintain their weight reduction. They didn't go back by just adjusting a little bit of their intake and increase the serving of fibers. The review of these intervention studies, many of them show the advice of reduce the energy intake. The first one is the multiple risk factor intervention trial. And this one, the participants were advised to reduce their fat intake and increase their consumption of fruits and vegetables. And it has shown that participants who have committed to this trial have shown that they have lost more weight when they increased their vegetables than others who were not on the same trial, who didn't do any increase in their vegetables intake. The second one was reduce calories, low fat, and high complex carbohydrate. This allowed unlimited fruit and vegetables for 6 months. This study, and 147 of the 113 adults who were in this weight loss program, during the 25 months of the follow-up, it shows that their weight loss was permanent. So we have a maintenance. And the problem that we are as dietitians, people follow the diet for a little bit of time, they reduce, and there's so many diets in the market that they can, the yo-yo diets, the African diet, the diets who have tremendous, dramatic change on body weight. They reduce and they go back up again, even double the weight reduction. But in this trial, the people who were really committed and who have taken the combination of reduced fat, taken high complex carbohydrate, increased their vegetable intake, have a permanent weight control on the 6 month, coming 6 months. In this one, there was another one which participants consumed a daily specific amount of fruits and vegetables, 15 to 20% of the energy comes from fat, and after 1 year they examined these people, they found out that their BMI was controlled and dropped to the normal. The fourth one is the prevention trial. Participants who increased their intake of fruits and vegetables and decreased their fat intake lost a significant amount of fat within the first year, and they kept it standard. The last one is this one. The trial was cardiac patients who have changed their diet by lowering their fat intake, and they increased their consumption of food, have lost again a significant amount of weight, and their lipid profile was controlled very well, and it was excellent. And all these studies have been proven, and you can just log in and read about them. Now, what are those studies tell that if we increase our vegetable intake, we have very good impact in weight reduction, in type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and in maintaining our health. So, bottom line, what we should do, we should increase our vegetable. It's tasty, it's easy to access, it's not costly, and we have to remember the goal of eating more often and with more varieties, which we are having. These are my key references for today, and I hope you've benefited. I'm open for any advice. Thank you. This is an introductory for our keynotes. I hope you liked it, and if there's any question, you just have to.
Yeah, it's okay to provoke or make war. The consequences are not much to you. Just collapsed economies, people dying in hundreds of thousands or millions, children starving to death, etc. But you are always safe and sound and getting richer because of that. Well, congratulations, because the door of hell is wide open, waiting to welcome you forever in the ready-made fire.
Luminous viewers, thank you for your presence today for the first Middle East Vegetarian or Mevej Congress on Words of Wisdom. Please join us tomorrow for part 3 of this illuminating conference. Coming up next is Happiness is Where the Heart Is, a New Year celebration with Supreme Master Ching Hai Vegan, part 3 of 6, right after noteworthy news. In God's boundless love, may your days be filled with peace and happiness.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds. Hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/WOW。
我们的节目提供多种语言，请看 suprememastertv.com/schedule 和 suprememastertv.com/WOW。
With profound, humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 1 of 4.
Etc.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds. Heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Rancangan kami menawarkan banyak bahasa. Sila kunjungi suprememastertv.com/kehadapan-schedule.
Mind is energy, human body is energy. There is no duality between the two. So if you can really control your thoughts, if you can have good thoughts, your body does not suffer from any illness whatsoever.
Please stay with us to enjoy this illuminating Congress.
Vegan, tested positive for humane element.
Today's program will be presented in English with subtitles in Arabic, Olaxese, also known as Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Korean, Mongolian, Persian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Thai, and Ukrainian or Uranian. Përshëndetje, joyous viewers. Përshëndetje is hello in Albanian, one of the official languages of Kosovo. I am Bajram. The considerate people of Kosovo support all peaceful and kind actions. Let us walk together along the benevolent vegan path. Kosovo is nestled in the center of the Balkan region in Southeast Europe, and is a great place for travelers who hope to dive into the culture and history of the Balkans. The country is known for its people's benevolence and kindness. Visitors are often treated to free desserts or tours of the neighborhood by the welcoming locals. The medieval monuments in Kosovo are UNESCO World Heritage Sites consisting of 4 Serbian Orthodox Christian churches and monasteries. These include the 14th century Church of Our Lady of Jevis, the Gračanica Monastery, a beautiful example of medieval ecclesiastical architecture, the Patriarchate of Peći, built in the 13th century, and the 14th century Visoki Decani Monastery, which is known for its elegant and unique design and displays both Western and Eastern church architectural elements that blend into a particular hybrid style. With its rich diversity of plant and tree species, Kosovo is home to an array of animal people. There are an estimated 46 mammal people species and as many as 225 bird people species in the country, many with regional or global conservation significance. About 40% of the land is covered by forests, with oak trees in lower elevations and pines growing in the mountains. The mountainous border regions are home to many animal people, such as brown bears, Eurasian lynx, wildcats, gray wolves, foxes, chamois, roe deer, and red deer, all enriching the country's biodiversity. In December 2010, the first ever Middle East Vegetarian Congress was held at the Dubai International Exhibition Center, with the public invited to engage in an interactive exploration of the plant-based lifestyle, organized by the Middle East Veg Group, or Meveg, supported by the Middle East Natural and Organic Product Expo 2010, and endorsed by the Dubai Health Authority of the United Arab Emirates. The event provided 2 days of seminars, workshops, and video telecasts with experts from around the world, along with rejuvenating veg cuisine. In addition, Supreme Master Qinghai, vegan, was specially invited to speak via live video link on being a vegan and environmentally sustainable food choice, followed by a question and answer session with attendees, and the launch of the Arabic edition of the international best-selling book, The Birds in My Life, which was already sold out pre-launch. The Birds in My Life was printed by United Printing and Publishing, a subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Media Company, or ADMC, owned by the government of Abu Dhabi.
Be veg, go green to save the planet. Yo!
We now invite you to join us for part 3 of the conference titled The First Middle East Vegetarian or Mevej Congress, held in the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates on December 6, 2010, with Dr. B.M. Hedge, MD, vegetarian, cardiologist, professor of medicine, and author, who expounds on how the mind lives in every cell of our body.
Any questions, guys? Anybody? I thought Wafa, yes, please. Have a mic there, please. Thank you.
Can you go a little bit more in depth knowledge micronutrients in the latest research?
It is coming within the other lectures, but each vegetables, each fruits have its own, of course, they are the main source of micronutrients, which are the minerals and vitamins. All the vegetables and fruits have a tremendous chain of vitamins and minerals when you take them. Of course, as I said, if you want to specify each one of them, I'm not going to take half an hour. I'm going to take the full, maybe not 2 days, 1 week, because they are the main source of our micronutrients, the vegetables and fruits. That's why we increase them. So if you want to protect yourself, you have to take them. But in case our today and tomorrow speakers, you have my card and I can answer anything in depth.
The micronutrients. Micronutrients.
Micronutrients are not available in dairy and other products.
Dairy products.
It's not available in dairy, meat and fish. They don't have this vegetable, this specialty they have.
No. Now, micronutrients, which we'll talk about vitamins, and we are talking about minerals. Vitamins, which is the water-soluble vitamins and fat-soluble vitamins. Minerals, we have the minerals, and we have which is the sodium, potassium, magnesium, and we have the trace elements, which are maybe the selenium. All these are very rich in vegetables and fruits. You always have to eat a balanced meal, and you have to have all the nutrients. And in vegetables, you have the micronutrients as well as the macronutrients like carbohydrates. So in each food, God created have its own benefit to your body. So we have to have it in a balanced way, according to age, sex, exercise, activities, blah, blah, all these things. Thank you.
I think Wafa explained very well the portions that we need to eat. You know, at one of my trainings, my daughter came with me. We were staying in Doha, and she went for breakfast. And she said, Mom, I had a balanced diet. And I said, what did you have? She said, I had pancakes, which is carbohydrates, I had cream, and I put a cherry on the top. So I had my fruits for the morning and everything. That's how we think. We don't give the actual portions that our body needs. And I'll tell you something. My weight was about 72 kg about 2 years ago. It was problem to get the clothes that would fit me, especially formal clothes for my training. Sometimes I used to wear my husband's slacks because nothing else would fit me. And just by going into a vegan diet, actually, I lost so much weight. So going from size 14 to size 6 became so much easy once you start looking at your plate and seeing what I need to eat. Life is about choices, isn't it? Everything is a choice. For instance, your choice of coming to this Congress. Why are you here? What was the purpose? And all these speakers who are going to be here, I think everything happens for a reason, and they have a message for one of you that is going to really hit home and make you change in certain ways or bring a dramatic paradigm shift in your life, right? We are also awaiting the Minister of Health, because he will also be inaugurating the exhibition itself, and we have also welcomed him here as well. In the meanwhile, if I could request Dr. Hedge just to talk a little. Sandhya wanted you to just welcome everybody here and share something. Yes? I know your talk is going to be tomorrow, and we look forward to that, but if that could be.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Sophie.
Pardon me for that bad pronunciation to begin with.
No worries.
You know, man can do three most difficult things in life, I believe. The first one is trying to climb a fence which is leaning towards you. Have you ever tried that? Not the one which is erect. Second one is trying to kiss a girl who is leaning away from you. But the third one, and the most difficult one, is trying to speak after brilliant speakers have spoken. That's where I am today. You know, Wafa's talk was so good that whatever I said now would be flat. But Sandhya is a very magnetic personality. When Sandhya says you have to talk something, I've got to talk something. Before I did that, let me just give you a small idea into human beings. We are talking here all about human beings, right? Gentleman here wanted to know micronutrients. Wafa here was giving us about macronutrients, fruits and vegetables and things like that. But all this is for what? At the end of the day, what's it that you want? You want to be happy, healthy, and live as long as you live? Is that right? Or is anyone here trying to live forever? Don't try that, because you'll never succeed. Death is the only certainty in life. All else is uncertain. Even this whole world is uncertain. Did you know that? The word meaning, the very word world in English language has no meaning. The original word is in German, which is called Werald. W-E-R-A-L-D. Werald simply means the thing that you see, the world as you see it. If you understand, it keeps on changing. And this is a beautiful thing. Now, I see all of you here, the distinguished audience, the interested audience. That's the most important thing. It's not the quantity that's important, but the quality. And I like this kind of audience who's very attentive. Second thing is, the most important thing is, supposing I close my eyes, you don't exist here. In short, the whole world exists because you're able to see that. In the old Indian concept, it is called Maya. It's just one of those illusions. And we think the world exists the way we do. People say, you must be a vegetarian. Someone else says, no, you can be a flexitarian, as Madam here was telling me this morning. Some people say, oh, I live only on meat, come what may. All this is right probably and also wrong. These reductionist ideas of looking at human being in the world from bits and pieces is something that we should not be doing if we want to really know what this world is all about. Let me give you a small snippet, take it home. It is not what you eat that kills you, it is what eats you that kills you. Did you understand that? I'll repeat that. It's not what you eat that kills you, it is what eats you that kills you. Your negative thoughts, remember that? And remember that every thought is a chemical, a powerful chemical. You may take a micronutrient, it may be a vitamin. But if you have a bad thought, it can destroy all that micronutrient. Let me tell you that. Every thought, where's your mind? Any answers for that? Where's the mind? Where's the mind? Never mind. Oh, that's very good. Our mistress of ceremony thinks the mind is here. That's a beautiful idea, isn't it? I wish the mind were there. I'll give you a story. Recently, there was a heart transplant done in London for a man who was dying, aged about 55, of intractable heart failure. Another man died on the road accident, and he was fresh there, and the heart was got. Luckily, it matched, and the heart was transplanted. Okay? You can say, okay, it was a very successful operation, because you all think, if you're not a doctor who has really gone into all these things, you will say, oh, transplant, future is all done, nobody need die. You can always get an organ, and you can, people think human body is like a machine, where you can do spare part surgery, and you can take bits and pieces and put new ones there. Like, if your carburetor has gone in the car, you put a new carburetor, you think the car becomes new? No, human body is not like that. Human body is interdependent. I'll come back to that. But anyway, what happened to this man? You look. Man became all right. Of course, he was on heavy medication to suppress his immune system, otherwise the heart will be rejected. But the man couldn't sleep. He just couldn't sleep. And there was a noise coming whenever he tried to sleep. It says, kapikcho, kapikcho. And the man didn't understand what it was. So he was taken to the psychiatrist. And psychiatrists are pill pushers. So the minute he said one pill, so you sleep off, he didn't sleep. Higher dose, he didn't sleep. To cut the long story short, he required anesthesia every night to sleep. He had to be anesthetized like a major surgery to sleep. But someone thought and said, let's go and look at the story of the man who gave you the heart. Okay? So they went back to the wife of the man whose heart was transplanted to this recipient. This wife, unfortunately, she's an exception. All wives are good, but this wife was a very bad one. She always used to fight with the husband. Almost every day they used to have a big fight, a real big fight, at the end of which they will agree to disagree. But the man was too good. The man who died was too good. And he always felt bad that his wife fought with him. At the end of the day, he would say kapikto, which in their lingo or language, whatever you want to call it, meant I'm sorry. That day, when he died, he was driving, the wife was sitting in the front seat, and she was fighting. She was a real fighter. She was like Muhammad Ali, real fight. And she went on and on and on. The man got confused. He went and hit a huge big boulder and died on the spot. Now, here was the man who wanted to say kapikto to his wife, but couldn't do that, and he died. So that heart was keep on saying that. So the man came here, a psychologist came and said, look, you go back to your heart's wife, your heart's owner's wife, not your wife, and tell her kapikto, and he'll be all right. So he went there, and with all sincerity, he said, I'm sorry. And then the noise stopped, and he lived ever after for a few more months or so before he died. All that I'm trying to tell you is, the mind is not in the head, as most people think it is. Mind is in every cell of your body, every cell in your body. Remember that? Every cell in your body at the subatomic level. Mind is not matter. But if you say, oh, brain is matter. Brain is not the mind. What is matter? No matter, right? Immaterial, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Here was a nuclear scientist, the best in the world, who is the present president of the Max Planck Institute in Munich. His name is Hans Peter Dior. Hans was the nuclear scientist who started working with Albert Einstein, Niels Bohr, Werner Heisenberg, and now for the last 30 years he is the director of the Max Planck Institute, the best institute of physics in the world. And Hans tells you, I quote Hans now, he is 86 years old, still very young in the mind. He says, I have been a nuclear physicist looking at matter at its subtlest and subtlest level, which I've been doing for 55 long years. Lo and behold, now I have realized there is no matter at all. Did you understand that? In short, matter is the other face of energy. So mind is energy, human body is energy, and matter is energy. Energy is matter. E is equal to m. E is not equivalent to mc squared. No, E is equal to m, which Hans calls as a duality. There is no duality between the two. So if you can really control your thoughts, if you can have good thoughts, your body does not suffer from any illness whatsoever. Coming to your problem, madam. She said she had rheumatoid arthritis. Many of you may not know what rheumatoid arthritis is, but let me tell you the essence of it. It's just that your own body cells hate your own body cells and destroy them. Did you get that? Which we in our language in the medical school call as autoimmune disease. This was the fear that the originator of the immune complex theory, Paul Ehrlich, ever thought. He said, my God, if a day comes when body's own cells hate its own cells, what will happen to mankind? He said, horror autotoxicus has come to fruition in this kind of diseases. There are many of them. I'll give an extreme example of this disease, which is called...
Ladies and gentlemen, His Highness Khalid Hassan Ali, Minister of Health, will be opening the Middle East Natural Organic Expo, middle of 2010.
Do you know what I thought? I thought my time is up. Anyway, let's come to that. Come back to this. The extreme degree of rheumatoid arthritis is called ankylosing spondylitis, where the joints literally fuse. Your spine fuses, and you can't move even a small little finger.
You have the power to turn it around. It's totally within your grasp. Read about detoxing and start today. Go vegan. You will never regret it. Brian Adams, vegan.
Courageous viewers, we appreciate your presence today for the first Middle East Vegetarian or Мeвег Congress on Words of Wisdom. Please join us tomorrow for part 4 of this fascinating conference. Coming up next is Lessons Learned from the Peaceful Karen Community, right after noteworthy news. May the Divine awaken all humans to the importance of going vegan for long-lasting peace on earth.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
With profound, humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy, blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 3 of 4.
Etc.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Every cell has a mind, remember that. So if you are compassionate, every cell in your body becomes healthy. Once the cell becomes healthy, the body becomes healthy.
Please stay with us to enjoy this illuminating Congress.
We're also seeing an increase in our risk because of factory farming. We're seeing mutations and new bird flu and swine flu come out over and over again. New viruses constantly emerging from these factory farms. Dr. Aisha Akhtar, MD, MPH, vegan.
Today's program will be presented in English with subtitles in Arabic, Aulacese, also known as Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Korean, Mongolian, Persian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Thai, and Ukrainian or Uranian. Мевег ke utakwam. This is pleased to meet you in Albanian, one of the official languages of Kosovo. I am Bajran. The vibrant people of Kosovo wish you happiness and blessings from God. Kosovo is nestled in the center of the Balkan region in Southeast Europe and is a great place for travelers who hope to dive into the culture and history of the Balkans. The country is known for its people's benevolence and kindness. Visitors are often treated to free desserts or tours of the neighborhood by the welcoming locals. The medieval monuments in Kosovo are UNESCO World Heritage Sites consisting of 4 Serbian Orthodox Christian churches and monasteries. These include the 14th century Church of Our Lady of Jevis, the Gracanita Monastery, a beautiful example of medieval ecclesiastical architecture, the Patriarchate of Pechi, built in the 13th century, and the 14th century Visoki Detsani Monastery, which is known for its elegant and unique design and displays both Western and Eastern church architectural elements that blend into a particular hybrid style. With its rich diversity of plant and tree species, Kosovo is home to an array of animal people. There are an estimated 46 mammal people species and as many as 225 bird people species in the country, many with regional or global conservation significance. About 40% of the land is covered by forests, with oak trees in lower elevations and pines growing in the mountains. The mountainous border regions are home to many animal people, such as brown bears, Eurasian lynx, wildcats, gray wolves, foxes, chamois, roe deer, and red deer, all enriching the country's biodiversity. In December 2010, the first ever Middle East Vegetarian Congress was held at the Dubai International Exhibition Center, with the public invited to engage in an interactive exploration of the plant-based lifestyle, organized by the Middle East Veg Group, or Meveg, supported by the Middle East Natural and Organic Product Expo 2010, and endorsed by the Dubai Health Authority of the United Arab Emirates. The event provided 2 days of seminars, workshops, and video telecasts with experts from around the world, along with rejuvenating veg cuisine. In addition, Supreme Master Ching Hai, vegan, was specially invited to speak via live video link on being a vegan and environmentally sustainable food choice, followed by a question and answer session with attendees, and the launch of the Arabic edition of the international best-selling book, The Birds in My Life, which was already sold out pre-launch. The Birds in My Life was printed by United Printing and Publishing, a subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Media Company, or ADMC, owned by the government of Abu Dhabi.
Be veg, go green to save the planet. Yo!
We now invite you to join us for part 4 of the conference titled The First Middle East Vegetarian or Meveg Congress, held in the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates on December 6, 2010, with Dr. B.M. Hedge, MD, vegetarian, cardiologist, professor of medicine, and author, who continues on the importance of compassion and positivity in leading a healthy life.
There was this famous writer, journalist in America called Norman Cousins. Norman goes with President Kennedy to Moscow to meet Khrushchev. And in the meeting, he was with the president in a December morning, but very cold, sub-zero temperature in Moscow with mounds of snow. There was a jet plane which was turning, and the jet steam, very hot jet steam, hit his body. And that's what he thinks is the beginning of his disease. He became crippled, completely crippled. And the Harvard Medical School, they said, you have only 3 months to live and nothing can be done, you will die. So the man got admitted to Peter Brandrigam Hospital, expecting to die. One day a friend of his came to visit him, jolly good fellow. And he was cracking some jokes. And suddenly, Norman started laughing. And he laughed so loud that suddenly found his little finger was moving, which was not moving at all. If a fly sits on his forehead, he couldn't just drive it away. But with this laughter, he got one finger moving. So his friends went back and got various movies, those 16mm things, because those days there were no videos. I'm talking of the early part of the last century. And then he laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. And then you will be surprised. In 3 months' time, he went home and lived happily for 29 more years before he died of a ripe old age in 89. He has written a beautiful book for all to read. Very small book. Please buy that and read. It's called Anatomy of an Illness. Anatomy, A-N-A-T-O-M-Y, of an illness. So, Norman Cousins has written a book for you. If you can really enjoy life, all nutrition we'll come back to you. Because do you know why? Now we know body has got a capacity to transform things, which is called transmutation. Suppose your urine requires sodium, and if you have plenty of potassium, your body can change potassium into sodium. It's called almost alchemy. It's called biological transmutation. Let's welcome His Excellency, the Minister of Health of UAE. No. It's not come. Not come yet? He's coming. He's just going round. Let me just define health for you as he's coming. Okay, we will define it after he leaves.
While we wait, I think I enjoyed Dr. Edgar's little speech a lot, and it makes a lot of sense. As I was saying, our bodies are our autobiographies, so they do tell us. But who's listening? If he says the mind is in every cell and our brain is not our mind, then I don't know, we have big trouble. I think there is a connectivity trouble between our mind and our bodies. When our bodies tell us something, our mind rejects it and gives it a total different ideas, which might not be good for the body. So I think the inner struggle keeps going on. I'm sure you've heard of the placebo effect. Like, doctors, they use it, that they would give a pill to a person saying, this is going to cure your headache at the moment, and it might be just a sugar pill, and the mind makes it real. Now, how is that possible? On one hand, we talk about the body that assimilates everything and the process is going on, yet the mind or the brain has the power to overrule that absolutely. And sometimes when all these pills we are taking, they may or may not have an impact on our body, but our mind is what makes it real. So if my mind is confused, worrying all the time, not laughing enough, as Dr. Hedge said, then my body is also going to get fatigued out. So let's keep balancing. That is why we are all here, to have a holistic approach about life. We need to see. There are two inputs in the body. One is, what are the two inputs into our body? One is food, and the other, we breathe. And both these things we are not at all well at.
Good morning, smile. Good morning.
I'd like to welcome our esteemed guest here. Assalamu alaikum. It's an honor to have him there. Please, Sandhya, could I request you? Come.
It's an extreme honor to have Mr. Hanif Hassan here today. Thank you, sir, for coming in to the first ever Middle East Veg Congress that we are organizing in the UAE. Ahlan wa sahlan. Can we all please stand up for the national anthem, please? Very much. Please be seated. This particular Congress, sir, is a focus on health for the UAE by going back to the plant-based diet and to increase that in our daily diet, which is what will make a difference in each and every child for the future to address all our chronic illnesses, problems of diabetes, hypertension and obesity that we are facing. This is one of the key techniques where we change all the side dishes of vegetables that we beautifully have in this Arab tradition into the main dishes for all of us, as tasty as we can get. So on this note, on this wonderful occasion this morning, we would like all of you to please welcome here, and we would like the Minister to light a little lamp which will shine forth for our future generations to look at nature closely, go back to nature and look at what we started with. So the light and the lamp of that is what we request you to please come and burn. Thank you so much, sir.
We are really honored to have your presence here. Thank you so much from all of us here. And really honored by your presence here. Thank you.
Now that Sandhya is back, the signal is that we can restart. It was very nice of His Excellency, the Health Minister, to have visited us. I think I should start with the definition of health. The Health Minister around here, I should define health. That there's a new definition of health now. The old definition was, health is absence of physical, mental, psychological, spiritual, economic, social well-being. This is possible only after you die, number one. Number two, they say, probably at the height of orgasm, it lasts only for a few seconds. But the real health is none of these things. Health is defined as enthusiasm to work. Remember that? Health is enthusiasm to work and enthusiasm to be compassionate. That's health, which was defined by Sigmund Freud way back in the 19th century as work and love. But I've changed it because love connotes something different from the younger generation now. Love is not L-O-V-E in English for the younger generation. It's L-U-S-T. So I've just taken that. But the true meaning of the word love is in Greek language. There are three words. Eros, that is erotic love, the lust that you talk about in younger generation. Then phil. Phil is affinity. You're so close to the other person, you call it as phil. The last one is agape. Agape, A-G-A-P-I or A-G-A-P-O, agapo, in Greek means compassion, universal compassion. You have compassion on everybody, you don't hate nobody. And if you really develop that, I tell you, you cannot have disease, because as our mistress of ceremonies rightly or wrongly interpreted by saying the mind, every cell has a mind, remember that. So if you are compassionate, every cell in your body becomes healthy. When once the cell becomes healthy, the body becomes healthy. The body is the mind, mind is the body. There is a mind in the brain also, but there is a mind in the leg also, there is a mind in your hair also. That's what I'm going to tell you. Now, having said this, I must tell her the real physics background of this. It's not just esoteric that you just talk about it. Fritz Albert Popp is a very famous physicist in Germany. Fritz, F-R-I-T-Z, Albert, A-L-B-E-R-T, Fritz, Albert, Popp, P-O-P-P. You go to Google and say Fritz Albert Popp. What he has shown is, every molecule in a body emits a light, which is called the photon light. And today you have a photographic film, you can photograph that. Now what is interesting is, every cell in the body loves another cell in the body and vibrates at the same frequency in these photon lights, which are called biophotons. Now supposing your body and my body today is supposed to vibrate with all your bodies, because I don't hate any one of you here. So you can now study my photon light with your photon light. They are vibrating in synchrony. So when there is synchrony between your own photons and the photons of others that you live with, you remain very healthy because your mind becomes very tranquil. Now, the second part of the thing is compassion. If you have compassion, everything is fine. The third part is, yes, I am done. The third part is the food that you put in. Here is the most important part that you are concerned in this conference. What is important is the food that you put in shall not disturb this peace of mind. And usually, the meat-based diet disturbs it because the chemical things in the meat-based diet are something different. Plus, in nature, if you see, all meat-eating animals, tigers, lions, cats, dogs, they have different teeth, canine teeth, they bite into the meat. You and I have mostly molar teeth for grinding fiber. Second, all meat-eating animals have a very short gut. Even a tiger has only 9 feet gut. A lion has 8 feet gut. But you have 27 feet gut. What you eat today takes about 24 hours to go. Meat should not remain in the body for that long. So these are the things I want to tell you, a little bit of science. Now, back to the mistress of ceremonies. Thank you for being with me for so long.
Keep making war, because the devils are so happy they can't wait to torture you and give you all the pain that you cause to other people, only multi-million times more.
Thoughtful viewers, thank you for your presence today for the first Middle East Vegetarian or Мeвег Congress on Words of Wisdom. Please join us tomorrow for part 5 of this informative conference. Coming up next is Miniature Gardens, Beauty in Tiny Spaces, right after noteworthy news. May the heavens forever smile down on us.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/WOW.
برامجنا متوفرة بالعديد من اللغات. يرجى زيارة suprememastertv.com/schedule و suprememastertv.com/WOW.
With profound humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 2 of 4.
Etc.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Наши программы предлагают много языков. Пожалуйста, посмотрите suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Animals don't want to give their meat. Because when we cut their bodies, they are screaming and crying for their lives.
Please stay with us to enjoy this illuminating congress.
You vegan? Bravo, man!
Today's program will be presented in English
with subtitles in Arabic. Aulas is also known as Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Korean, Mongolian, Persian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Thai, and Ukrainian or Uranian. Helloa, gentle viewers. Helloa is hello in Belizean Creole, one of the languages spoken in Belize. I am Barbara. The fun-loving Belizeans enjoy delicious vegan food and invite you to join this benevolent and healthy lifestyle, if you haven't already done so. Belize is a warm and welcoming country located on the northeastern coast of Central America, bordering Mexico to the north and Guatemala to the south and west. With English as the official language, Belizean society is highly multicultural with many languages spoken, including Belizean Creole, Spanish, and Mayan languages. In ancient times, Belize was the heartland of the Maya Empire. To this day, a significantly large number of Maya ruins have been found here, with some dating back as far as 2600 BC. Belize is renowned for its unique ecosystems, with pristine jungle covering 50% of the land, most of which is under government protection. This dense forest region is home to a diverse range of wild animal people, including jaguars, armadillos, tapirs, as well as hundreds of species of bird people. In addition, the Belize Barrier Reef is the second largest coral reef in the world. This UNESCO World Heritage Site was described by Charles Darwin as the most remarkable reef in the West Indies. Nowadays, it is considered an important habitat for the survival of threatened animal people species, including sea turtles and manatees. In 2010, Belize was one of the first countries in the world to institute a complete and permanent ban on all forms of trawling in the country's waters. Thanks to the ban, our marine animal friends are enjoying more peace, which they so rightfully deserve. In December 2010, the first ever Middle East Vegetarian Congress was held at the Dubai International Exhibition Center, with the public invited to engage in an interactive exploration of the plant-based lifestyle. Organized by the Middle East Veg Group or Meveg, supported by the Middle East Natural and Organic Product Expo 2010, and endorsed by the Dubai Health Authority of the United Arab Emirates. The event provided 2 days of seminars, workshops, and video telecasts with experts from around the world, along with rejuvenating veg cuisine. In addition, Supreme Master Shinhai Vegan was especially invited to speak via live video link on Being a Vegan, an environmentally sustainable food choice, followed by a question and answer session with attendees, and the launch of the Arabic edition of the international best-selling book, The Birds in My Life, which was already sold out pre-launch. The Birds in My Life was printed by United Printing and Publishing, a subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Media Company, or ADMC, owned by the government of Abu Dhabi. We now invite you to join us for part 5 of the conference titled The First Middle East Vegetarian or Meveg Congress, held in the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates on December 6, 2010, where Lo Yuan Frutarian, Senior Executive of Education and Outreach of Vegetarian Society Singapore, explains the importance and the natural balance of eating plant-based foods compared to the harms caused from eating animal people flesh.
Warning: sensitive images.
Now I'd like to request Lo Yuan to come to the stage, and he has a very colorful presentation to share with us, and he's going to tell us how we can make a lot of smoothies, and he will be running the workshops for all these smoothies as well. So please do take time in between to go and visit the workshops as well. A little background about Yao. He made a U-turn in life when he decided to pursue a humanitarian role rather than a career in architecture. I was discussing with him from an architect to going into vegetarian and all, that is his passion. He graduated from National University of Singapore in architectural studies. This heavy meat eater has been a vegetarian since 1987. That is 23 years, wow. He now thrives on a largely raw fruitarian diet. Underlying this was his awed respect for the Earth's unique design and all the strange and wonderful life forms and that proliferate here. He is happy to spend his life protecting and speaking for this intricate beauty that is our planet. And currently, Yao is the Executive Director of Education and Outreach of Vegetarian Society in Singapore. Let's welcome Yao here.
Hello. Thank you. I too have a lot to share about nutrition and about health, well-being, food, but from a very different perspective. I'm interested in design. So much of the talk that I'm sharing with you today is the angle of design. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone, thank Meveg for putting this event all together. And I think it's a very timely event to have this because the planet is going through a shift. And I think it's important that we as humans understand what is happening and we act collectively to try to address the situation. Of course, I'm also grateful for everyone for coming here. My talk today is, I too have a childhood story to share. So I will go into that later. But this talk that I'm doing now is a short one. And I'm going to focus mainly on number 1 and number 2 about the plant-based diet and the animal-based diet. To compare, to answer that question about whether living on fruits is possible. I asked that question myself many times because I wanted to know what the true natural diet for humans is. As a child, I don't know, that was maybe 7, 10 years old. I've always had a fascination with the earth. I found grass growing, trees growing, the sky, the temperature. I found it strange. I found it strange that the planet proliferates the way it does. And at that time, I thought that everyone does the same thing, just that nobody talks about it. So I went to school, primary school, secondary school. It was only at university that I realized that things are a lot more complicated. And I realized that the way humans live is not in harmony with the planet's design. And I wanted to do something about it. That's why I couldn't bring myself to continue that trend, join the corporate world, design buildings. I wanted to do something to make a difference to this planet. I realized that all our life is connected. I think you know all this. We're not just talking about the obvious things like gravity, food. I realized that the planet has been infinitely kind to all of us because all the things that we have, all the things you see around you, all the food, the water, the air you breathe, the temperature we have, is beautifully designed by the earth. Everything is perfect. It's exactly what we need. exactly what we need is given by the earth, without our even asking. And I realized that, as you were saying, the brain is not just in the cell. I think it's in the whole planet. The whole planet is alive. Things are a lot more complicated than we think. I think science understands very little. As the doctor rightly said, it's an energy field. And I think I felt that right from as a child. And I think as children, we all know it too. It's just that, through the upbringing, it gets lost along the way. It's when we lose the connection that things go wrong. It's when we lose the connection with the earth, with the bigger picture, that we find that things go wrong. And I think we are moving towards this very quickly. So it's very important that we reconnect ourselves, reconnect with among humans, and reconnect with the earth. And I call it an intimate connection with the earth, because with gravity and with temperature, what can you do? You don't have a choice. But diet is something that we choose. Diet is something that we choose 3 times a day, and whether we choose the right diet or wrong diet is a make or break for all of us. We are in this together. And the diet I'm talking about, the plant-based diet I'm talking about, is about wholesome foods. Foods that are unprocessed, foods that are unaltered, with little or no processing. Because these days it's been difficult to have zero processing, because much of food is imported. Now if you look at natural foods, okay, here I'm using the example of a mango. If you observe our instincts, when a mango ripens, it changes its color, it changes its scent. I mean, we see all this all the time, but we forget, we take it for granted. This is exactly the language in nature. This is exactly the language of the intelligence, the higher intelligence, to invite us to take the fruit. Because it's something that the tree wants to give to us. So you see, the language is a beautiful language of love, it's harmony. And when in taking the fruit, we help the tree scatter its seeds. It's a win-win situation. It's such a happy thing for all of us. And if you don't take it, it spoils. And you find that the nutrients that the trees give is exactly what we need. The energy, the fiber, it's all there. In fact, if you see the corner picture here, most of the curries we like, they're actually the flavors of the spices, which are mostly seeds. So you see, our instincts are made for it. The rice and the bread and the noodles are made from grains. Our taste is made for these things. And you find that it's exactly what we need again, because it's high fiber, all this stuff you know already. It's the most harmonious with our system. Scott Jurek is an ultra-marathonic. An ultra-marathon is a marathon that's longer than 42 km. Okay, it can be 150 km. Okay, one of the top ultra-marathoners in the world is vegan. Okay, plant-based. And he talks about it. In fact, he said that it helps him recover. It helps him recover very quickly. An ultra-marathon can, I read some of the stories. They can run for 36 hours, One day only has 24 hours, and this guy's 36 hours. I don't know how they do it. But this is just to make the point that plant-based diet can provide energy. Just a bit of story. When I became vegetarian, I had a lot of problems. Because I was a heavy meat eater, as mentioned. And when I jumped into this, I felt terrible actually. I didn't have energy, I felt weak, I lost confidence. My energy was just not there. But it was after some weeks that I realized that the body needs conditioning, and my energy level picked up. So of course there are lots of people out there who may have this experience, and they think that something's wrong with the diet. It takes conditioning. It's just like smokers and smoking. If you're a heavy smoker and you quit smoking suddenly, the body feels bad. The body feels terrible. You lose weight. It's the antioxidants that does the magic. Okay? The higher the antioxidant levels, the better. Good for skin, good for your weight, good for your nails, you feel happier. I think it's a plant-based diet that gives us our natural lifespan. We are meant to live long. I was told by some Buddhists that in the Buddhist Sutra, it was mentioned that humans are meant to live 120 years. That's our normal lifespan. But it's just that with the junk that we're eating, we are shortening our lives. We are giving ourselves a lot of problems. So anyway, we are starting to discover the truth of this. Okay, it's perfect for meditation. I think many of you do this. Mental strength, mental clarity. I experienced this myself when I went on this diet, especially on the fruitarian diet. I found that my mental capacity shot up. I was able to have clearer thoughts. I was able to comprehend abstract materials much better. My mind can sustain much longer. This is something very, very true that I experienced. Okay, this is something maybe many have not seen. I call it the structure of abundance, because the more fruits we eat, the more fruits we tend to have. Let's say you like mangoes, you eat mangoes, and you throw the seed, and the seed grows. So you have more mango trees, you have more fruits to eat. Okay, but sadly, most of us treat the peels and the seeds as trash. But what I'm saying here is that the inherent structure of abundance is designed in our food structure. Okay, so back to the question of whether the fruitarian diet is humanly possible. It's not only possible, it's a celebration of life. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. How many of you might be aware that ex-President Clinton is near vegan? Anybody aware of this? Anyway, good. Anyway, he went into this because he had his surgery, his heart surgery, and he realized that the arteries were clogging up again. He had the stent put in and he was starting to clog up, and he wanted to prevent that. So he read up on Professor Colin Campbell and Dr. Esselstyn and discovered that 82% of people who went on a plant-based diet managed to reverse their heart conditions. So he wanted to do this, partly for his daughter's wedding. This is Health Minister of Singapore, Minister Corbyn. He too had a similar story. Compared to ex-President Clinton, Minister Kor is completely vegan. Okay, when we heard this, we couldn't believe our ears. And he went into this for a similar reason. He had a bypass surgery, and he also read up on Professor Colin Campbell and Dr. Esselstyn, and went on to do this diet to protect himself. Vegetarian Society Singapore has been communicating with him privately, so he tells us some of his reasons, his stories. But publicly, he won't talk about it. Publicly, he won't talk about his vegan diet change. I think we understand because there are so many other interests connected to this. I'm mentioning this because it makes the point very clear. Animals don't want to give their meat, because when we cut their bodies, they are screaming and crying for their lives. And talking about the harmony of the structure of abundance, when you cut the animal, do you get more animals? It doesn't happen. 10 kgs of grains to produce 1 kg of beef. So I think you all know this is extremely inefficient. Some studies state it as 16, some studies say it as 6:1. So a lot more resources are needed. This is just a video to explain, I think the audio is the one. This is just to explain that a lot of resources are used and contributes to climate change.
The increasing number of animals being intensively farmed globally. In effect, the lungs of the world are being killed to create more saturated fat. Wildlife also suffers as habitats are destroyed. But probably the biggest environmental problem of all is water scarcity.
It also contributes to world hunger because so much of the grains in third world countries are sold to developed countries because they don't have much else to sell. Developed countries buy the grains to lower the price of hamburgers. This has been going on for many, many years. Meat requires intensive refrigeration because otherwise you'll go bad. And also, unless you keep a cow or pig in your house, you're not going to have fresh meat. So there will always be a need for long distance transportation.
All the fat in his bloodstream. So he took Mr. Phillips down to the operating room, and I gave him 1,000 micrograms of fentanyl and put him to sleep. And the surgeon opened up his chest and opened up his aorta.
Right. Okay. This you see here is the artery. Okay. What you're seeing now, when you cut open the artery, blood is supposed to spurt in the face, but here it doesn't Because this yellow substance here is the fat. It's the fat that is clogged up, building up in the artery. So when the heart pumps, you're seeing the pulsation of the heartbeat. Can we continue?
Up his coronary arteries. And what the surgeon started pulling out of Mr. Phillips' arteries were great, long, yellow, greasy, sausage-like formations of fat that looked like this.
You can see it is solid. That's the stuff that kills people. That's the stuff that clogs arteries. And when it clogs the arteries in the heart, it's a heart attack or heart failure. When it clogs arteries, the brain, there's a stroke. The kidney, you have kidney failure. That's the same stuff, the same disease, it's the same problem occurring in different organs, manifesting as different diseases. HCA, this is something similar to what was mentioned. Heterocycloamines, this is a cancer-causing substance that is formed on meats whenever meat is cooked at high temperatures, grilling, frying, baking. We know this has been known for many years, but yet somehow it's conveniently ignored. In Singapore, this is the scenario. 2008. Okay, if you put the three together, it looks like this. This 61% is coming close to 66%. 66% will be 2 in 3 persons. Okay, that's the scale of the problem we have in Singapore. You know, Singapore strives to be world number one in many things, but guess what? We are coming close to this too. We spend a lot of resources creating health problems, and then we spend even more resources solving them. Hospitals require a lot of resources. Yet in that condition, a lot of research has gone into the pharmaceuticals. So what we're trying to say is the meat-based diet is highly destructive as compared to the plant-based diet. And the destruction is something that we really need to look closely at, because we are destroying ourselves. I'm not sure if you've seen this documentary before. Life After People. Anybody seen this? Life After People. For those of you who haven't, this documentary explains what happens to planet Earth when humans perish.
After the 2007 season, I had read so much I decided to become a vegan and get rid of all the animal products, meat and dairy. It really changed my career, and I thought this might be something that helps me take my career to the next level. And it wasn't the main reason, but I like knowing everything I eat was served in a humane way. Pat Ｍեվեգ, vegan.
Joyous viewers, we appreciate your presence today for the first Middle East Vegetarian or Мевег Congress on Words of Wisdom. Please join us tomorrow for part 6 of this inspiring conference. Coming up next is Happiness is Where the Heart Is, a New Year celebration with Supreme Master Ching Hai, vegan, part 4 of 6. May God bless you and your loved ones with tranquility and fulfillment.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
With profound humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 4 of 4.
Etc.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
When the food is in peak ripeness, the antioxidant level is highest. You find it's also most tasty when the fruits become accessible to humans. And that is nature's design. That is the language of love, the language of harmony.
Please stay with us to enjoy this illuminating Congress.
If we continue like this, to exist in this way as humanity, we will destroy ourselves. Simply because these livestock farms pollute the environment, pollute nature. If we don't take action now, it will be too late in the future. Nicola Donovan, vegan.
Today's program will be presented in English with subtitles in Arabic. Aulas is also known as Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Korean, Mongolian, Persian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Thai, and Ukrainian or Uranian. Welcome, energetic viewers. At Joseph, welcome in Belizean Creole. Hope you are having a wonderful day filled with good cheer. I am Barbara. The considerate Belizeans wish you peace and contentment in heaven's love. Belize is a warm and welcoming country located on the northeastern coast of Central America, bordering Mexico to the north and Guatemala to the south and west. With English as the official language, Belizean society is highly multicultural with many languages spoken, including Belizean Creole, Spanish, and Mayan languages. In ancient times, Belize was the heartland of the Maya Empire. To this day, a significantly large number of Maya ruins have been found here, with some dating back as far as 2600 BC. Belize is renowned for its unique ecosystems, with pristine jungle covering 50% of the land, most of which is under government protection. This dense forest region is home to a diverse range of wild animal people, including jaguars, armadillos, tapirs, as well as hundreds of species of bird people. In addition, the Belize Barrier Reef is the second largest coral reef in the world. This UNESCO World Heritage Site was described by Charles Darwin as the most remarkable reef in the West Indies. Nowadays, it is considered an important habitat for the survival of threatened animal people species, including sea turtles and manatees. In 2010, Belize was one of the first countries in the world to institute a complete and permanent ban on all forms of trawling in the country's waters. Thanks to the ban, our marine animal friends are enjoying more peace, which they so rightfully deserve. In December 2010, the first ever Middle East Vegetarian Congress was held at the Dubai International Exhibition Center, with the public invited to engage in an interactive exploration of the plant-based lifestyle. Organized by the Middle East Veg Group or Meveg, supported by the Middle East Natural and Organic Product Expo 2010, and endorsed by the Dubai Health Authority of the United Arab Emirates. The event provided 2 days of seminars, workshops, and video telecasts with experts from around the world, along with rejuvenating veg cuisine. In addition, Supreme Master Xinhai Vegan was especially invited to speak via live video link on being a vegan, an environmentally sustainable food choice, followed by a question and answer session with attendees, and the launch of the Arabic edition of the international best-selling book The Birds in My Life, which was already sold out pre-launch. The Birds in My Life was printed by United Printing and Publishing, a subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Media Company, or ADMC, owned by the government of Abu Dhabi. We now invite you to join us for part 6 of the conference titled The First Middle East Vegetarian or Μeβeγ Congress, held in the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates on December 6, 2010, where Lo Yuan Fruitarian, Senior Executive of Education and Outreach of Vegetarian Society Singapore, goes into detail on how to eat a healthy fruitarian diet and its benefits.
The destruction is something that we really need to look closely at because we are destroying ourselves. I'm not sure you've seen this documentary before. Life After People. Anybody seen this? Life After People. For those of you who haven't, this documentary explains what happens to planet Earth when humans perish. They had the view of experts how the planet actually restores itself when humans leave the planet. And we are moving fast towards this. I think one of the ideas of the producer of this documentary is to awaken people, is to let us know that we are moving towards this. If we don't do anything about it, we'll be there soon. Because according to calculations, we need 1.5 planets to sustain the current rate of resources we're consuming based on US standards. So it's not only possible, it's the most natural and it's the best way to celebrate life. I'm just going to briefly mention the third part of my workshop. After this at 4:30, we are having a workshop. If you'd like to join, we will strongly encourage you. This is to exemplify what I've been saying earlier, of how the plant-based diet is truly beneficial. So in that workshop, I'm going to explain the goodness nature intended, talk about the ingredients I use, and do a hands-on. Okay, this workshop is a hands-on. We're going to have many stations, hopefully 10 stations and 10 different sets of ingredients, 10 different kinds of smoothies. And you do it hands-on. I'm going to demonstrate one smoothie and you can sample it, and then you do the 10, and you can sample the other 10 smoothies if you like. Okay, to show you the versatility of the smoothie making. I'm just sharing with you some of the points that I explained during that workshop. The more processed the foods you consume, the more resources it consumes. Okay, so to us, maybe a very innocent plate of noodles, but actually a lot of energy is gone into it. So it's best that we consume food that is as unprocessed as possible. Because the more processed the food is, the less the nutrients, and the body will be craving for nutrients. So you find that many of us eat because of the craving to eat, because the body is starving of nutrients. So as a result, we eat even more, we gorge even more. And what do we eat? We eat even more empty calories. So it's very common that this happens, and we set up a cycle of overeating. Okay, so the point is that the diet we choose drains the planet's resources. This stuff is good, all the good stuff is here, no bad stuff. Nutrient dense. And the point I'm making here about being easily absorbed, many bodybuilders also like this kind of diet because the particles are finely ground, it's easy for the body to absorb. I'll be explaining some of the ingredients we use, why we soak them in a certain way, what the benefits are. This is flaxseeds. Flaxseeds are good for anti-aging, bone health. And I'll be explaining why the fruits that we use seem to look a bit overripe. I think by most food standards, they think it's overripe. Actually, that is where the nutrient level is highest. Okay, so this is about a bit about the art of eating fruits. This is an example, is when you see the black spots here. Okay, that's the best time to eat the fruit because according to that study, according to this Belgium study, it is when the fruit is in its peak ripeness that the antioxidant level is highest. You find it's also most tasty, it's the sweetest. It's when the fruit drops from the tree. It is when the fruit is meant to be eaten. It is when the fruits become accessible to humans. Okay, that is nature's design. That is the language of love, the language of harmony. That's the way it's supposed to be. I think most people would start throwing the bananas away at this stage, right? But actually, it's the best time to eat them. This is just a sample of the smoothies that we've been doing. This is the passion fruit smoothie. You can see the different kinds of fruits we use. There'll be 10 altogether. Depending on the crowd I get, maybe we do less. Anyway, I'm just showing you 6 of the samples. This is a plum smoothie. I'm using all local fruits here, okay, because we are trying to encourage people to use what is available near you to make it into something that is very healthy and very tasty. I think we all know what healthy food is. It's a question of making it taste good. And that's the whole idea behind this smoothie making workshop, to encourage people to show people how it can be done. Very simple, nutrient dense, it can be done by anyone, even a child can do it. This is the green one, it's a green smoothie. I have 10 recipes. The first 4 are fruity smoothies, the second group are green smoothies, and the third group is nut milks. Okay, so it caters to different kinds. People who want high protein, for example, should go for the nut milk. We introduced this to some schools in Singapore, and well, it was only partially successful. This was the most successful one, you know, all the kids went for the chocolate smoothie. This is using figs. The figs I'm using here, this is a dried one, but I think over here you can get the fresh ones. So I'll be ending here. I just want to remind you that I think it's important that we think that diet is not just for our stomach, it's also about the planet. We're all connected, and it's good to return the kindness of the earth. Are there questions you'd like to ask?
Thank you very much. My question was, having just fruits, how does that affect our sugar level, and is it enough in terms of carbohydrates, and how do you balance between those that give sugar very quickly and have a lot of sugar and those that don't?
Yeah, I've been asked that question many times about sugar levels. What I do is I combine, because if it's just sweet fruits, the sugar level will take a jump. Okay, so you find that I use fruits that are not always sweet. It also depends from body to body. I use nuts and seeds too. Okay, many of the recipes I use nuts and seeds to balance on this. And by the way, these smoothies I'm making are not drinks, no, they are meals, because I survive on them. I live on these things. I don't eat rice. In my normal meals, I don't eat rice. When I'm outside, maybe I do. So I use nuts and seeds to balance. And sometimes I use things like papaya. Papaya may not always be sweet. And I think also my body has been adapted to it, so my body doesn't react to it. I do long distance runs sometimes. And there was one time I ate only papaya for 10 km run. And I was expecting my energy level to drop, but it never came. So I think also the body's condition needs to be adapted.
Any other questions?
So you classify yourself as raw fruitarian?
Raw vegetarian?
No, a raw fruitarian.
Right.
Once you transition into being raw, how do you deal with the detox effects?
Oh yeah, I think that's a good question. Because when some people jump into this fruitarian diet, the body reacts because it's a highly detoxifying diet. Some people even experience fever or runny nose, because the body jumps into a detox mode. So in my case, I've gone through many kinds of vegetarian diets. I started eating brown rice and all the cool stuff. One time I was eating a lot of pancakes, and then I was eating salads and all that. But I came into this gradually. So it's a matter of proportion. I was eating the normal cooked foods, like most people, and then I started to increase my raw fruitarian diet.
How many percent are you today?
Now I'm about 80%, 80.
So you do the 80-20?
Yeah. But I think if I want to, I can switch to 100%. It's not a big deal. Just out of convenience, like when I'm here, I do eat cooked foods to stay alive.
Any other questions? Yes.
How sustainable is a fruitarian or a raw food diet in a region like this?
It's very sustainable. My meal times are like everybody else. And as I was saying earlier, if you eat a lot of sweet, juicy fruits, yeah, you can't sustain. I get weak. I get the hypoglycemic effect very soon. But when they have some nuts and seeds, it sustains. So balancing it with the nuts and seeds is important.
All right. There was a question here. Yeah, the microphone is coming to you.
We are living here in the Emirates. There's a little sort of scarcity of fruits and vegetables. So everything is imported, right? So when things are imported, it's imported very raw, and it thrives here in the shop or in the supermarkets. So how do you feel people living in this part of the world, how would they adjust to be a fruitarian, or how would the nutrients in the fruits would be enough for us?
Right.
My question is that we are buying them unripe, or it's coming from its country,
right?
Not ripe, like a green, and it comes yellow here, takes its color here, and it ripes here. So how healthy is that? This is my question.
Right.
I mean, would it keep its nutrients all this time?
Yeah.
If I'm in my country, for example, I just get a fig from the tree and eat it. I can get something from the land and eat it. That's 100% nutrient, 100% full. Yes. But what about here? This is my question.
Right.
How full it is? How much nutrients are still in there?
Yeah.
With all this strip and all the pesticides and all this.
Right. There's a test by New Skin. They test the antioxidant levels. Have you seen this? They shoot a laser beam into your skin, and then they test the antioxidant levels. Yeah. And anyway, I had mine tested, and mine is right at the top of the range. So although in Singapore we don't get fresh fruits, we don't have trees to pluck the fruits from. All our fruits and vegetables are imported. And I've been surviving on that. So far it's been good. Of course, having the real naturally ripened fruits is best, no doubt about that. But speaking from my experience, it's not been a problem. So what I do is I buy the fruits unripe and I let it sit in my kitchen until it is ripe. I do that. And I try to buy fruits, like bananas for example, I try to buy the local ones, not the imported ones, because I'm told that there's a lot of pesticides sprayed for the exported ones. So try and buy local, go local.
Yes, Papa has a question.
I'm having a comment actually.
Yes.
We will fight again. As an expert in nutrition,
right,
with all the studies in the world,
right,
you cannot live only on fruits.
Yeah.
You can't. Impossible. Vitamin B12,
right,
unless you take it as a supplement.
Right.
Iron deficiency anemia, lactating pregnancy, type 2 diabetes. It's good to have it for 1 day and a week,
right,
weekly basis.
Right.
I agree on that. But to have it as a pattern,
right,
I stopped myself not to comment, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot. You will have deficiencies.
Right.
And you have to compensate these deficiencies by taking them as supplements, tablets. Because never ever you will get from nuts, smoothies, B12.
Right.
Never ever you will have iron, which comes from heme. Heme means hemoglobin to be produced. As an expert in nutrition, certified clinical dietitian, I cannot tell you you have to be a fruitarian all your life.
Right.
You have, from my point of view, to have it for detoxifying. It's an excellent diet for detoxification. I do agree on that, but once in a week or twice or thrice in a month. I have to say that.
No, it's a good point, because this is not the first time I'm hearing this. I've been told many times that this is impossible. I think that's why the question was raised. To be honest with you, I do take vitamin B12 supplements. Okay, because B12, the original source of B12 is soy bacteria. Okay, we all think that it must be from meat, from animal products. But the original source of B12 is from soil bacteria. It is synthesized by soil bacteria. Animal products have it because animal graze from the ground. They eat the contamination of B12, and it goes into the eggs, goes into the milk, goes into the meat. But because the ground is so contaminated now, we don't take groundwater. I mean, if you drink well water, spring water, it would have been there. But we can't do that these days because it is too polluted, too dangerous to do that. So, yes, I do take vitamin B12 supplements. That's the only supplement I take. Okay. And all the others, I don't have a problem. I've been doing this for 9 years. 9 years. I'm still here. I'm still alive. So I know there's a lot of scientific studies to say that, is this really possible? Can you really live on just fruits? But like I say, my fruit includes nuts and seeds. Yeah. I think if it's just juicy fruits, no. I tried, it didn't work.
Yeah, but when I'd like to share that when I was a vegan for 2.5 years, I used to get my hemoglobin levels checked. And surprisingly, because it wasn't just fruits, but I would make sure that I would have the vegetables which have just maybe traces of iron in there. And I never had a problem. I could donate blood even during the time, so it's...
My iron level is very high. My iron level is on the upper limit. Wow. Because, No, because lots of fruits have iron. When you cut the fruits turn brown. That's the iron oxidizing. Yeah, nuts, prunes, dates, lots of them have iron. So iron is never going to problem.
Sure. Any questions? Any further questions? Okay, quickly, because we have to go for a break.
Thank you. Could you please tell us what is a day's meal in terms of what do you have for breakfast and lunch?
Okay, sure. It varies, okay? I don't have rules. I follow what my body tells me. But morning is always something fruity, something bright. So it's always more citrus. And actually, if you're eating a fruity smoothie, it's best not to add nuts and seeds.
So, sorry, could you just, when you say citrus fruits, you'd have one orange?
Oh, I see. Or lime, lemon, banana, kiwi, whatever's in my fridge actually. Mangoes. Mangoes is a very good energy supplier. Flax seeds, goji berries. I think flax and goji berries, I have it almost every meal, or 1 teaspoon or so every meal, a little bit each time. And whatever else is in my fridge. But for energy is largely bananas and mangoes.
A big hand for you.
Thank you.
Before we go for break, I would like to request you to please introduce yourself to the person sitting behind you. I'm sure you know the person sitting on your left side or the right side. Just your name, and so that when you see each other at the break, then you would at least know a few more people. And done? Come on guys, everybody. We're not strangers here, we are all here to participate in a wonderful, life-changing program. Okay, excellent. Guys, the break that we are going to have is going to be for 15 minutes. So kindly, if you could be back there by 12:30. And the break is called Food for the Soul. This meal will be brought to this Congress by Radhe, the purely vegetarian restaurant located in Dubai, started over a year ago. Radhe believes in the simple philosophy that energy from food strongly influences the thought, which in turn creates the person that you are. So these are the foundations of the food at Radhe. Guys, see you back in 15 minutes. Thank you for being such a nice, patient audience.
It's okay to make war. Only others will die or suffer. The people in your war-ravaged country will have to continue paying tax to lavish all means to keep you well fed and safe anyway.
Enchanting viewers, thank you for your presence today for the first Middle East Vegetarian or Ｍeվեգ Congress on Words of Wisdom. Please join us next Monday, January 2nd for part 7 of this illuminating conference. Coming up next is A Dog's Journey, a story of selfless loyalty. May the celestial light and music soothe and inspire you always.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Unsere Sendungen bieten viele Sprachen. Gehen Sie auf suprememastertv.com/schedule und suprememastertv.com/VOW.
With profound, humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy, blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 3 of 4.
Etc.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
There's something magical that happens when we let the me go, and a camaraderie where we're actually looking after we, each one another, and helping one another to succeed, if you will, and be happy and to have a good life.
Please stay with us to enjoy this illuminating Congress.
How can we speak of right and justice if we take an innocent creature and shed its blood? Isaac Bashevis Singer, vegetarian.
Today's program will be presented in English with subtitles in Arabic, Aulaxis, also known as Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Korean, Mongolian, Persian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Thai, and Ukrainian or Uranian. After enjoying a delicious vegan meal in Mindanao, Philippines, you can say lami, which means delicious in Cebuano, one of the languages of the Lumad. Welcome, generous viewers. I am Nathaniel. The spiritual Lumad people are grateful to God for the abundance that nature provides. The Lumad are a proud indigenous society that inhabit the island of Mindanao in the Philippines, consisting of 15 ethnic groups combined. They comprise about 1/10 of the country's total population. Living primarily in small communities surrounded by nature, the peaceful Lumad people strive to preserve their rich heritage and culture. Groups such as the Subanon study wind patterns to foretell the weather and growing conditions. Other groups are known for their handicraft skills, which include weaving, pottery, wood art, and jewelry. Their unique songs and dances, the traditional ornaments, and the colorfully woven dresses of the Lumad women all survive to the present day. These art forms are part of their identity and carry in them their stories and heritage. Although faced with a multitude of challenges, the Lumad remain true to their heritage and try to pass on their culture to the next generation. Their religious beliefs, which center around spirits of nature, have significantly influenced their joyful music and vibrant dance. There are many festivals held to celebrate Lumad traditions. These are often incredibly colorful and range from the Kamulan, which brings together 7 Lumad groups, to the culturally significant Thanksgiving ceremonies of the Subanon, known as Buklok. In December 2010, the first ever Middle East Vegetarian Congress was held at the Dubai International Exhibition Center, with the public invited to engage in an interactive exploration of the plant-based lifestyle. organized by the Middle East Veg Group or Meveg, supported by the Middle East Natural and Organic Product Expo 2010, and endorsed by the Dubai Health Authority of the United Arab Emirates. The event provided 2 days of seminars, workshops, and video telecasts with experts from around the world, along with rejuvenating veg cuisine. In addition, Supreme Master Qinghai, vegan, was specially invited to speak via live video link on being a vegan, an environmentally sustainable food choice, followed by a question and answer session with attendees and the launch of the Arabic edition of the international best-selling book, The Birds in My Life, which was already sold out pre-launch. The Birds in My Life was printed by United Printing and Publishing, a subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Media Company or ADMC, owned by the government of Abu Dhabi.
Be veg, go green to save the planet, yo!
We now invite you to join us for part 7 of the conference titled The First Middle East Vegetarian or Meveg Congress, held in the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates on December 6, 2010, with George Swan, who will introduce the concept of LEAN, which stands for Lifestyle, Exercise, Attitude, Nutrition.
How was the break by our sponsors? Good? You feel a little energized now? Excellent. Because we are going to have a very interesting talk by George. And even though I introduced him earlier as well, but I'll just briefly go through the things that I missed out. As I shared with you that he works with Abu Dhabi Health Services, SEHA, since 2007. And with over 20 years working in Saudi Arabia, he is also knowledgeable about the Middle East culture and unique factors that might be influencing the lean habits of this region of the world. He has worked in large hospitals throughout Saudi Arabia and in US, notably at King Faisal Specialist Hospital in Riyadh. Aside from his education and work experience, George is a dedicated runner. He completed his Dubai Marathon in January this year, and his wife Marie from Canada has been his supporting partner and loving wife for the past 43 years. Wow. He has 2 daughters. And in summary, George has put the LEAN principles into practice and is eager to share his personal commitment to this healthy way of living. So let's applause for George and Mr. Chair.
Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to be here. And we've heard so much about nutrition. And I know all of you are here not just to learn, but to influence your workplace, your friends, your colleagues, your neighbors, your communities, in fact, to change the world. Because change the world, that is what we need. And, I have to introduce LEAN in this way. It was about 35 years ago, and I had not exercised, I didn't pay attention to my diet at all, and this doctor came into our hospital and he explained about resting heart rate. And he said that if your resting heart rate is 72, that's normal. That's like average, but average is not healthy. Your resting heart rate, if it's below 60, is as good as 20% of the population. And if it's below 50, it's as good as 1% of the population. And he said it's very easy if you run or walk aerobically for 30 minutes every other day. You can skip one day, but don't skip 2. In a few months, you can get your resting heart rate below 60. And I have now kept my resting heart rate below 50 for over 40 years. And I just turned 67, alhamdulillah. And I know with all my colleagues, that I am just not aging quite the same way. So I do know something about being healthy. And I work in a hospital environment. And our business is getting people to be healthy. So the diet, the nutrition, lifestyle, exercise, attitude, nutrition, I learned that from a pediatrician back in around the middle of 1970. Has anybody ever heard that before? Lean, L-E-A-N, lifestyle, exercise, attitude, nutrition. It's a great little word to kind of keep in mind when you talk about being healthy. It's a balanced approach. Just a few pictures. This looks like my breakfast this morning, along with a little hot porridge. You know, it's great. Just one way to eat. And, you know, I love berries, nuts of all kinds, vegetables. You know, I actually like raw vegetables. Sandhya told me that vegans have a lot of recipes and they actually cook the vegetables too. You know, that's permissible in a vegan diet to actually cook the foods, which is kind of nice to know. Now, something I was very, you know, impressed with the whole idea of the nutrition piece. But I want to, I've heard this before in the talks, and I know you all know it, but I always like to keep these 5 call them dumb foods or empty calories in mind. Things like the saturated fats, coconut oil, palm oil is particularly high, and of course the additives that they put in all our food. You know, you have to read labels. You have to know. We have a very well-known broadcaster in the USA is going blind because he was addicted to Diet Cokes, and he was drinking 2 6-packs a day, and aspartame has a side effect of causing blindness. Not many people know those kind of things. And then the 3 whites, I call them: white flour, white sugar, white salt. You know, in the U.S., the consumption is 5,000 milligrams of salt per day versus a body weight of about 2,500. And of course, salt attracts fluids. It causes, you know, overweightness, and it causes hypertension, that kind of thing. What is particularly interesting about this is when we look around at the schools, how many of you are working in a business? Everybody here is working in a business. You know, we work with colleagues, and we wonder how healthy is the workplace. What about our schools? You know, are we concerned that the schools serve foods that are healthy? There was a newspaper article last month, as a matter of fact, about the health authority has issued a mandate that the schools will no longer serve a lot of these foods that we see on the bad list. You know, the fast food kind of things, and processed foods are out. And I think any vegan in any of these, they started with 25 schools as an exercise. Any vegan going to any of these schools would not have a difficult time. They would find the foods there that they want to eat. Just getting back now to this lean for longevity and the idea of the lifestyle, the exercise, attitude, nutrition. It's really important to think of this as a balance. And I'm not going to talk a lot about nutrition because I think, you know, that's what you will hear a lot about. It's the other side of the coin, you know, the other side of the hand, the exercise. I'm the exercise man. And in particular, I like this graph because it shows that everybody starts off at the same place. And I'm kind of interested, those of you who are vegan, how many of you grew up in a family where that was the way you ate? Your parents, in other words, helped bring you into a vegan diet. How many people here actually grew up in a vegan family? That's very interesting because everybody here kind of discovered the vegan diet, if you will, through awareness. But clearly, we all have parents. How many of you have children? And so you are teaching your kids habits that are going to help them to, as they grow up, have the right habits of nutrition that are going to work for them. Just probably 6 months ago, I picked up this book, Tribal Leadership. And I want to talk about lean in the context of different conversations or different cultures. The author here, Dave Logan, calls it tribes. We're all members of tribes. And the conversations that the tribes have, he studied for over 10 years. And he did something like 24,000 surveys. He studied in 1,000 different businesses. And he found that in businesses, like we have 16,000 employees in our hospitals and clinics in Abu Dhabi. But tribes are between 20 to 150 people, where people collect because they have the same kind of language. And knowing something about the language and the conversations and the way people act helps you as leaders to influence and help people make changes that are positive and affirmative. I'm just going to explain briefly these 5 cultures or conversations. Stage 1 is a conversation where life sucks, it's terrible, miserable, awful. And people in this, they represent about 2% of work groups. And they are the people who sabotage your company, they're undermining your company, and oftentimes they show up in gangs, like in Los Angeles, gangs that really do damage and are destructive. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on stage 1. Stage 2 is about 25% of work groups. And stage 2 are people who say, my life sucks. When I look out and see other people seem to have all the advantages, they seem to have everything going for them, and I'm lost, I'm confused, and I don't know what to do, and I'm a victim. Stage 3 is where people have a skill set, they have a knowledge set, and for themselves, they're doing pretty good, and pretty much their work group is competitive, but it's I'm great and you're not. Now, you might notice a theme in stage 1, 2, and 3. It's a theme about me. There's something magical that happens when we let the me go and we get into stage 4, which is more about a mission and a purpose in life and a camaraderie where we're actually looking after each one another, and helping one another to succeed, if you will, and be happy and to have a good life. And stage 5 represents about another 4% of work groups that are really committed to making a difference in the world. And we do go from one group to the other, but we all acquire a conversation about that. So there's another view of what we call 3 laws of performance. The first law says that performance and action is correlated to how the world occurs for us. And they're trying to say that it's almost as though, I think it was Professor Hegde said that the world is the same for everyone, but we all have a different view of the world. It's like we all have different glasses on. And if the glasses are these different types of cultures, then we could realize that I can talk to people, but they may be seeing things from a completely different view. The second law is that our cultures arise in language, and our view of the world is actually formulated in the way we talk. And if we understand the first law and the second law, then we can literally change our future by changing our language and changing our view of the world. It's a pretty complicated graph, and I'm not going to go through all the detail, but I just want to give you the framework of the way we're working with our leaders in Abu Dhabi and the way we can think of lean. So these stages that I just mentioned, if we apply what we say and what we see to the lifestyle, exercise, attitude, nutrition, we'll notice that stage 1, let's talk about stage 2 and 3. Stage 2 is a victim, and stage 3 is a competitive environment. I call it the hammer and nail conversation. So the hammer and nail conversation is like I'm the hammer and everything else is a nail. Or if I'm the nail, everything seems to be a hammer. If I'm stuck in this hammer and nail conversation, it's literally as if I was wearing a box. And it's a tough place to live unless I can begin to see what's at the root of it. And at the root of it, there's a voice that is always on, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There is a voice. And if some of you out there are thinking, what does he mean there's a voice? That's the voice. And this voice, it has two switches. One is should, and one is shouldn't. And if you're a victim, it kind of sounds like, gee, I should be doing this, my life would be better, or I shouldn't be doing that, my life would be better. If you're a stage 3 person, it's kind of going like, I'm great, but you should be doing it my way, or they shouldn't be doing it that way, it would work better. And you spend a lot of time pointing your finger at other people. I learned a long time ago, when you point the finger at somebody like that, do you ever notice you have 3 fingers pointing back at you? So it means there's an inquiry like, what can I do about that?
It's okay. Continue to make war, 'cause the world's people will hate not just only you, but they also will hate all your family, your relatives, your friends, and all your co-citizens in your nation. So you have company. Good for you.
Charming viewers, we appreciate your presence today for the first Middle East Vegetarian or Meveg Congress on Words of Wisdom. Please join us tomorrow for part 8 of this inspiring conference. Coming up next is Rising Sea Levels, a threat to all life on Earth, part 1 of 2, right after noteworthy news. May everyone quickly turn to the compassionate vegan lifestyle for long-lasting peace on Earth.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Манай нэвтрүүлгүүд олон хэлээр гардаг. Зочлог хаяг suprememastertv.com/schedule болон suprememastertv.com/WOW.
With profound humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 2 of 4.
Etc.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
รายการของเรามีให้หลายภาษาโปรดดู suprememastertv.com/schedule.
About organised vegetarianism around the world. But we're going back a long way, 2,500 years in both Europe and India.
Please stay with us to enjoy this illuminating congress.
Vegan, tested positive for courage.
Today's program will be presented in English with subtitles in Arabic, Aulacese, also known as Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Korean, Mongolian, Persian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Thai, and Ukrainian or Uranian. Mayong Adlaw, joyous viewers. I just said, "Good day" in Cebuano, one of the languages of the Lumat people in the Philippines. I am Nathaniel. The earth-loving Lumat appreciate all that you do to protect Mother Nature and join you in adhering to the eco-conscious vegan lifestyle, which is essential to save humanity, our animal friends, and the planet. The Lumat are a proud indigenous society that inhabit the island of Mindanao in the Philippines, consisting of 15 ethnic groups combined. They comprise about 1/10 of the country's total population. Living primarily in small communities surrounded by nature, the peaceful Lumat people strive to preserve their rich heritage and culture. Groups such as the Subanon study wind patterns to foretell the weather and growing conditions. Other groups are known for their handicraft skills, which include weaving, pottery, wood art, and jewelry. Their unique songs and dances, the traditional ornaments, and the colorfully woven dresses of the Lumat women all survive to the present day. These art forms are part of their identity and carry in them their stories and heritage. Although faced with a multitude of challenges, the Lumat remain true to their heritage and try to pass on their culture to the next generation. Their religious beliefs, which center around spirits of nature, have significantly influenced their joyful music and vibrant dance. There are many festivals held to celebrate Lumat traditions. These are often incredibly colorful and range from the Kamulan, which brings together 7 Lumat groups, to the culturally significant Thanksgiving ceremonies of the Subanon, known as Buklok. In December 2010, the first ever Middle East Vegetarian Congress was held at the Dubai International Exhibition Center, with the public invited to engage in an interactive exploration of the plant-based lifestyle. Organized by the Middle East Veg Group or Meveg, supported by the Middle East Natural and Organic Product Expo 2010, and endorsed by the Dubai Health Authority of the United Arab Emirates, the event provided 2 days of seminars, workshops, and video telecasts with experts from around the world, along with rejuvenating veg cuisine. In addition, Supreme Master Qinghai, vegan, was specially invited to speak via live video link on being a vegan, an environmentally sustainable food choice, followed by a question and answer session with attendees and the launch of the Arabic edition of the international best-selling book, The Birds in My Life, which was already sold out pre-launch. The Birds in My Life was printed by United Printing and Publishing, a subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Media Company or ADMC, owned by the government of Abu Dhabi.
Be veg, go green to save the planet. Yo!
We now invite you to join us for part 8 of the conference titled The First Middle East Vegetarian or Meveg Congress, held in the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates on December 6, 2010, with George Swan, who will explain the benefits of a positive attitude and exercise in daily life.
So I'm going to focus just on exercise and attitude for a minute. Nutrition, y'all, I think, know quite a lot about. The idea of exercise and attitude is your attitudes are really, I call them attitudes actually. Have you ever noticed that sometimes your attitude has you, you're caught in an attitude? And when you notice that voice of your attitude, you actually can let it go. So if I am wearing a hat that isn't working, I might reach in the box and pull out a hat that works a lot better. So you could take one hat off. I like to get up in the morning and I look through all my hats. There's a hat over here that says, gee, job is tough, life is difficult, I don't really understand what my boss is saying. I could just leave them on the shelf and I can put on my happy hat. Or I can put on my hat that says, well, look, why don't I just go in and learn a little bit more about a particular procedure or about people and be more committed to what I am at the office, kind of like that. This is the hat you don't want to wear very often. It's the box. It's the hammer and nail box. Just let that one go. Got another hat here. It's like the inquiry hat. The inquiry hat is very interesting. I want you to look at the red lines. So below the red line and to the left of the red line, that's the box that we all get caught up into. Sometimes my kids get a little bit unruly and I get angry with them, or I start telling them what to do. And I get caught into the attitude. But if I can begin to free myself up, lighten up, I actually discover there's a way out. So if I'm a victim, what I want to do is I want to shift to the right, like an inquiry, like ask the question, what do I need to learn? What can I learn that is going to move me out of being a victim? In the same way, if I'm in stage 2, or stage 3 rather, if I'm in stage 3 and I want to get out of that competitive mode, I might notice that I need to learn something about listening and coaching, so I can shift to the right, learn something about listening and coaching, and shift up above the line where it's all about teamwork and it's camaraderie and it's actually helping one another to do our work and have better communities, kind of like that. Now, I said that I started running about 35 years ago, and about 10 years ago, I found out that the bone density in my vertebrae here was actually declining. And it really was a shock because I felt like I was in great health and I'd been doing all the right things. And I realized that women know a lot about calcium. Men don't know so much about calcium. But men need to take calcium and pay attention to calcium every bit as much as women. And I also discovered this gentleman here, Leonard Schwartz. So you could see he did not do anything until he was the age of 50. And he looked in the mirror one day and he said, wow, I'm overweight, I got high blood pressure, I'm a borderline diabetic, I'm in terrible shape. And he studied exercise and really became a master in it and found that he didn't have a lot of time to devote to exercise. So what he wanted to do was spend his 30 minutes every other day walking or running. And he reached down and he picked up some weights. And I was very happy to see Lo Yin earlier had a picture of Scott Jurek, the ultra marathoner, with his weights in his hand. But when you're walking down a running path or a walking path, how many people do you see carrying weights? Not very many. And a very interesting thing that Len Schwartz discovered about weights is that if I'm going to walk for 30 minutes every other day, I can double the benefits by carrying weights along with me. Or if I'm going to run for an hour, when we were preparing for the marathon a couple years ago, I would go running. And I'd run with these weights. And what happened was, over the last 10 years, I've shifted the workout from my legs up to my upper body. So now, I can stand in front of TV, I can exercise while I'm watching a TV program, I can do figures of 8 like this, and it has been amazing how much extra benefit I've gotten from just carrying a couple of weights. I recommend everybody get a pair of dumbbells. Start with 2 kilograms. That won't kill you, but you'll go out for 30 minutes. If you carry 2 kilograms, the first time you do it, you're going to be exhausted. Persist. Persist. Go through it, and you'll discover what a great, great benefit this is in your world of exercise. This was something that came out just a couple weeks ago in the New York Times. It's almost like a duh. They found out that people with diabetics, they combine aerobics with weights, that they actually can reduce their blood sugars, reduce their weights. Gosh, did I see that figure earlier from Lo Yun? 82% of people that change their diet reverse their heart condition. You know, that's phenomenal. What if we applied that in our healthcare business? You know, I mean, I'm really not interested in building the greatest healthcare surgery departments in the world for people with heart problems if I can eliminate them altogether. And then what about the kids? So we all have kids, but we all are responsible for our communities and our neighborhoods. If we can see it and say it and do it, we will influence the kids. We know for a fact that kids that exercise, kids that are healthy, have scores that are higher than kids that don't. I mean, exercise is good for the brain, not just good for the muscle. And of course, the diet just combines with the whole thing. I'm a learner here, by the way. I have to say that I took a walk around and you know, I can see a lot of things I can even do to improve my diet as well. So just to summarize things here in this little chart, I could say that S1, S2, S3, that's about the box. So getting out of the box and opening up like an inquiry, like what more is there that I could do? The first level is really dying. And the second level is surviving. Anybody familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs know that when you're down there, you know, life is tough. On the other hand, you stay down there by talking about it, and the only way out is to begin to learn about what can you do to move yourself up this ladder of life. And the third level is the striving area. Letting go of the me and getting into the we puts you up above the red line. I call it the magic red line. Getting up where you have a thriving organization, a thriving neighborhood, a thriving community, and that puts you up into the stage 5 where you actually can see the whole planet and the benefits of the lifestyle, the exercise, the attitude, and nutrition. Now I know that seems very difficult. It's kind of like this. Lifestyle is a job of juggling. Kind of like that. It turns out most people, I teach thousands of people in my life to juggle. And it turns out that when you start to teach somebody to juggle, the first thing they say, what do you think? I can't juggle. And their brain turns off and they don't want to do it. So I say, look, take those words, put them in the trash can over there, say to yourself, I will learn, I want to learn, and I'm going to learn. Literally, 10 minutes later, most people can juggle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like that. So I'll be walking around here a little bit for the rest of the day. If anybody would like to take me up on it, just ask. I can teach you how to juggle. Thank you.
That was really nice. And the juggling part, and I love the hats. Please, go ahead.
I did have just one more chart here. If you make a piece of paper and you make columns on it, each week look back and decide, you know, like, what are my scores for lifestyle, exercise, attitude, nutrition? You can actually put a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on it. And get your resting heart rate on that column and see what happens over a period of 6 to 8 weeks. I think this was my last thought, actually, which is, as you pass through life, my friend, make this your goal. Keep your eye upon the donut and not upon the hole. Now, I don't mean that literally. You don't want to eat donuts because those are, you know, fried foods and white flour, but it's a great thought, and keep that. Thank you.
Anybody wants to request him to learn juggling as well? I already, yes, me too. So we got 3 people already. Excellent. And more will join, of course. It's so interesting. But he said rightly that it's our mind, actually, which tells us that we can't do. Well, thank you, George. That was really very nice, and it makes us think. And you're very fit. You don't look 67. Now I'd like to invite John Davis to come and share his views with us. John, if I could request you to come up to the stage. And a little bit about John. John Davis was a pioneer of vegetarianism on internet from the first days of WWW, or the World Wide Web, in 1994. Throughout this time, he has also been researching the history of International Vegetarian Union, or IVU, partly for presentations at the Centenary Congress in 2008, along with general vegetarian history, all supported by members of the IVU History email group. The result of this now run to about 10,000 historical files on IVU website. Over the years, IVU, John has attended congresses and other events in many countries, including Brazil, California, China, Germany, India, Indonesia, Scotland, Singapore, Spain, Switzerland, and Thailand. And he lives in rural England, so John, if I could request you to come here. Come on, guys.
Hi, hello. This is now for something completely different. Nothing about fresh fruit or vegetables, nothing about doing exercise, just about organised vegetarianism around the world and what's happening. In the beginning, what we have is ancient Greece and Rome and ancient India and in the middle Persia, and lots of people. On the left are ancient Greek philosophers, Roman emperors. The one at the very bottom left is Pythagoras, who you might know from his square on the hypotenuse theorem. But Pythagoras was also a philosopher and a teacher, and a lot of other things beside maths. On the right are various people from ancient India. I'm sure you'll recognise some of them. What they have in common is that they were all some sort of vegetarian, or some part of their lives. So we go back a long way, 2,500 years in both Europe and India. The big question is who thought of it first? The academic view is that we don't know. The Indians will tell you, of course it started in India. Maybe it did. We don't really know for sure. What we do know in between was, in Persia, Zoroaster. We know the ancient Greeks went to Persia, and I think the ancient Indians went there. So it's possible the ideas swapped across. Maybe the Greeks learnt it from the Indians in some way when it was passing around. The ideas were surprisingly similar, including things like transmigration of souls. The ancient Greeks were talking along those lines as well. So we're going back a very long way, and then we're going to do a big jump into organised vegetarianism. What happened in Europe, vegetarianism almost disappeared after the first century of the Roman Empire. As Rome became more and more Christian, so the vegetarians declined. In the East, of course, it continued. In India, East Asia, for religious reasons, just carried on right through the centuries. But we jump here right up to 1847 in England, where we've got the first vegetarian society was formed by two groups in London in the southeast, Manchester in the northwest. They got together and formed this society, which was completely independent of any religious views at all. There were a lot of different people involved in it. The two in the picture were from the Bible Christian Church in Salford near Manchester. And the one on the right was particularly important because he was a very wealthy businessman. and it helps having a lot of money when you want to do something like this. It's still there today. The building on the left is Parkdale near Manchester, which is the headquarters, has been since 1969. On the right is the library, which contains, in bound volumes, every journal back to 1846, right from the beginning. And naturally, I made quite a lot of use in that in historical research. A few months ago, I was co-opted onto the board of the Vegetarian Society of the UK, as it's now called. So I'm spending a bit more time up there on other business. 1850, American Vegetarian Society. I did this talk in San Francisco last February, and I asked them there, when did they think the first ever American Vegetarian Society was founded? And they all said, well, 1960s, hippies, that's where it all came from. It was a long time before that.
Even people who were not interested in veganism seemed to be gradually familiar with vegan-related terms. More and more people are talking about the need for vegan products in the beauty and fashion industries as well as food. The vegan industry will and should grow. Wan-Zhong Li, vegan.
Magnanimous viewers, thank you for your presence today for the First Middle East Vegetarian or Meveg Congress on Words of Wisdom. Please join us tomorrow for part 9 of this illuminating conference. Coming up next is Happiness is Where the Heart Is, a New Year celebration with Supreme Master Qinghai, vegan, part 5 of 6. Right after noteworthy news, may you forever be comforted in God's love.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
With profound humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 4 of 4.
Etc.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds. Heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
By 1908, there was a vegetarian society in almost every country in Europe, as well as America, India, Australia, and spreading around the world.
Please stay with us to enjoy this illuminating Congress.
I don't need to eat meat, and industrial meat production causes great harm. We should act to treat animals humanely, protect our environment, and improve health outcomes. The Honorable Nathaniel Erskine Smith, vegan.
Today's program will be presented in English with subtitles in Arabic, Alasis, also known as Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Korean, Mongolian, Persian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Thai, and Ukrainian or Uranian. Përshëndetje, uplifting viewers. I just said hello in Albanian. I'm Luriana. The amicable Albanians admire your dedication for spiritual upliftment and wish you all the best on your noble endeavor. Albania is a beautiful southern European country located in the western part of the Balkan Peninsula. Its gorgeous coastline stretches some 450 kilometers along the Adriatic and Ionian Seas. Covering the northern part of the nation are the forested North Albanian Alps, with national parks like Thet and many others throughout the country that reflect Albania's abundant natural wonders. Just 27 kilometers from the Adriatic coast is Albania's capital city, Tirana. This charming and vibrant city is full of lively and colorful buildings with grand boulevards, public squares, and pedestrianized streets that are a pleasure to roam. As a country of diverse spiritual faiths, Albania is well known for its religious tolerance. The historic concept of Besa is considered a moral foundation for the harmony among its people. Besa, which translates as keeping one's promise, extends to all forms of agreements, as well as hospitality and caring for those in need. Albanians celebrate through many colorful traditions of song and dance, which vary by region. One distinctive form of Albanian music that has been inscribed in UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage List is isopolyphonic singing. Poetic lyrics are sung in a memorable style comprising 2, 3, or 4 voices. In December 2010, the first ever Middle East Vegetarian Congress was held at the Dubai International Exhibition Center, with the public invited to engage in an interactive exploration of the plant-based lifestyle. Organized by the Middle East Veg Group, or Meveg, supported by the Middle East Natural and Organic Product Expo 2010, and endorsed by the Dubai Health Authority of the United Arab Emirates. The event provided 2 days of seminars, workshops, and video telecasts with experts from around the world, along with rejuvenating veg cuisine. In addition, Supreme Master Chinghai, vegan, was specially invited to speak via live video link on being a vegan, an environmentally sustainable food choice, followed by a question and answer session with attendees and the launch of the Arabic edition of the international best-selling book, The Birds in My Life, which was already sold out pre-launch. The Birds in My Life was printed by United Printing and Publishing, a subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Media Company, or ADMC, owned by the government of Abu Dhabi. We now invite you to join us for part 9 of the conference titled The First Middle East Vegetarian or Meveg Congress, held in the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates on December 6, 2010, with John Davis, vegan, former International Vegetarian Union manager, who will explain the expansion of international vegan festivals and the success of vegetarian congresses, which are now regularly held throughout the world.
Man in the picture is Sylvester Graham. If you've heard of Graham crackers, that's where the name comes from. Sylvester Graham was promoting Graham bread, healthy eating, in the 1830s in America. Along with a few others, they founded that society. It lasted about 10 years, partly the Civil War, partly the man on the top right was helping to fund it. He died and that was the end of that one. But the British Society carried on. 1867, German Vegetarian Society followed along. That one's still going. They organised our centenary congress 2 years ago. It's gone almost continuously. The German Society, as you can imagine, had a problem in the 1930s. And in 1933, they were given an ultimatum of joining the Nazi living reform movement or close. They carried out a ballot of all their members, and they voted to close. They didn't want to be part of the Nazis. 1945, the Super Bowl was over, they reformed. They actually carried on meeting right through the 1930s and 40s in individual homes, which was potentially quite dangerous, but they kept it going and reformed. So we're starting to get vegetarian societies and organisations spreading around the world. India, which, looking around, I think might be of interest to quite a few of you from your ancestry. This is a lot earlier than some people think as well. 1889 to 1908. The red dots are vegetarian societies that we know about, mostly in the north, a couple in Mumbai. There were almost certainly more that we don't have records of. And these vegetarian societies were being run by Indians for other Indians in their own language. Nothing to do with the British. All they did was borrow the British idea of having a society. Round about that time, of course, Gandhi went to London. 1888, when Gandhi was 18 or 19, he went to London as a law student. And when he left Bombay as it was then, he made a vow to his mother not to eat meat while he was in London. And he stuck to it, with great difficulty, living on bread and water mostly. And then he found a vegetarian restaurant, so he could actually eat properly at last. On the way in, he found a book called A Plea for Vegetarianism by a man called Henry Saul. All of this is in Gandhi's autobiography. He wrote it up in great detail himself. And he read this book by Henry Saul and decided that he would become a vegetarian. This is someone who, as a Hindu, had never eaten meat in his life, only apart from once, one occasion. But he never thought of himself as a vegetarian. He was just a Hindu. He didn't eat meat. So he detached it, decided that being vegetarian was important in itself, not just because of the vow he made to his mother. But we'll come back to all that as we go. 1908, International Vegetarian Union. By 1908, there was a vegetarian society in almost every country in Europe, as well as America, India, Australia, spreading around the world. So the idea was to have a federation of all these societies and bring them together. And that was the first IDU Congress held in Dresden, Germany. About 25 people there one day. The last Congress about a month ago was in Jakarta, Indonesia, and we had 5,000 people. So we've progressed a little bit. First 50 years of IDU, 1908 through to 1955, organising international vegetarian congresses. And those red dots are where all the congresses were held. They didn't get far into Europe, let alone the rest of the world. All in Northwest Europe, a whole series of them. There were attempts to go elsewhere. San Francisco offered to host one in 1915. The Europeans said, no, it's too far to go. Not if you live in California, it's not, but we had to wait a long time for that one. But eventually, it spread out. In 1958, they wanted a congress in Germany, 50 years when it started. That all fell through. By this time, the Indians had been saying, we want a World Congress in India. And the Europeans, oh, it's too far to go again. But when 1958 fell through, the Indians said, we'll do it. And what they did was something that no one had ever seen before. Let this one through. Congresses up till then had been 4 or 5 days in one place. The Indians held it in Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta and Madras, as they were, a week in each. 2,000 people attending lectures. They had speakers hanging out of the windows for the crowds who couldn't get in. Europe had never seen anything like this one. The Prime Minister of India opened it. They have a reception at the President's Palace. Absolutely huge. So this took IVU finally out of Europe to start becoming a little more worldwide. Then another big jump to America. American vegetarians have sort of come and gone. Not much happening in the first half of the century. They got involved again by about 1950. In 1972, the first ever regional congress in the unlikely place of Venezuela, in a Latin American congress. And some Americans from the USA went down for this and thought, we need some of that. They started the North American Vegetarian Society with the aim of holding a congress in 1975 in Maine. And the woman in the picture is Dixie Mayhew, who is now the president of the San Francisco Vegetarian Society. That's her in 1975, so she's a bit older now. She's still there, still president, and she is organising the next World Vegetarian Congress in San Francisco, the main organiser of it. Just a few pictures from 1975. This had a big impact. All the historians who looked at this said that it kick-started the vegetarian movement in North America. Before that, there were lots of individuals, isolated groups. What this did was to bring them together. It ran over 2 weeks, 1,500 people there in Maine. As a result, there were more vegetarian organisations. Magazines like Vegetarian Times came out of it, all launched from this congress. The guy in the top left picture is Jay Dinsham, who's American of Indian ancestry. He was the mastermind of the whole thing, founder of the American Vegan Society in 1960. But somehow it's always Indians running all this. Everywhere I go in the world, I meet Indians making all this difference. Another big jump. First Congress in East Asia in 1999, Shanghai in Thailand. We had a few problems in IVU during the 1980s and 90s, so this didn't have the impact that it should have had. But we used it to do a lot of rethinking about IVU, to reorganise. We wrote a new constitution, changed everything we were doing. And the next big jump forward, 2004, we went to Brazil. Hugely successful congress. And for me, this is the real new beginning, where we started again after all the problems we had. The congress was in that beach resort, which is quite a nice place to be. On the right is a cruelty-free fashion show. That ran for 2 nights, no leather, no fur, no silk, nothing like that. Enormously successful. This congress again kick-started a lot of organisations in Latin America. We've now got a lot of societies starting all over the Spanish and Portuguese-speaking world as a result of this one. 2006, we were in Goa. As you can see, I had a lot of fun at that congress too. On the beach resort in Goa. We needed to rethink how we approached Asia. That was IVU's view of the world. Divided into 6 regions, and you got the brown area, which was Asia, and down the bottom right, Australasia. The obvious problem is the city of Mumbai has a bigger population than Australia and New Zealand combined. So it's a bit of an imbalance. We needed to change it around a bit. So we did that. You've now got India and West Asia, and on the right is Asia Pacific, which makes a bit more sense to us. And we brought in 2 new regional coordinators, Shankar Narayan, who is sitting over there, Shankar became regional coordinator for India and Southwest Asia, which includes the Middle East. And on the right is Susianto Seng from Indonesia, who is regional coordinator for Asia Pacific. And they've both done an amazing job over the last 4 years, getting all sorts of things going, organised, as you can see in a minute. Just to make sure Asia was fully represented, this is George Jacobs. He doesn't look very Asian, but he's actually from Singapore and he lived in China for many years. He's now the chairman of the IVU Council. So Asia is now much more strongly represented. Before this, it was really Europe and North America. So we rebalanced it. The Congress is taking on Taiwan, 2007. This was the Asian Vegetarian Congress. 7,500 people turned up. As you can see, most of them dressed exactly the same. They're all members of the same Buddhist temple. But there were quite a few others as well. 2008, we had the Centenary Congress in Germany. Went back to Dresden where it started. Some congresses are very organised, very structured. Others are more laid back, work it out as we go along. The Germans have their own way of doing things. 4 years in advance of this, I was given a CD, and on that CD was a programme in great detail, everything we can do every day, including Tuesday afternoon, 2:30, city tour in Dresden, and here's a picture of the bus. And it happened exactly as they said 4 years later. Everything precisely to plan. International vegan festivals, these started in the 1980s. IVU has become increasingly involved in supporting and working with them, and particularly encouraging them to move around the world instead of being in Europe again. This was the 11th International Vegan Festival in India. I was talking to someone earlier about this. Vegans in India is not the most obvious thing you think of. But in the last 4 years, we've seen a huge change. And to me, what's happening, a lot of young people in India are turning away from their religion, becoming more westernized. Especially in places like Bangalore, they're surrounded by computer companies, surrounded by McDonald's and KFC. Trying to persuade them to go back to their traditional way of life isn't really having much impact. What we have found is talking about Western-style vegan to these highly westernized Indians does actually get through. And we've seen an enormous increase in the number of vegans in India. Relative to the total number of vegetarians, it's still tiny, but it's happening. In Brazil, 2009, Marley Winkler, our regional coordinator of Latin America, organised this one. And again, a highly successful vegan festival. So we're spreading them out again around the world instead of just Europe, particularly trying to move towards developing countries. Africa. I've just spent the last 4 days in Nairobi, Kenya, came back last night. We're trying to get a congress going there. Background to it, this is 2007, the first ever vegetarian congress in Africa. It took IVU 99 years to get to having a congress in Africa. Mainly thanks to the guy just at the left with his hand up, Emmanuel Ayo, who I just met for the first time this week in Nairobi. And he's done a great job for us. He's now the regional coordinator for Africa. This one was in Lagos in Nigeria, where he lives. Then last year, 2009, we had another one. This is in Accra, in Ghana, the second West African Congress. As you can see, they saved a bit of money on booking a hall by holding it in a local park. Much easier that way. Top left, all of these African congresses, they would go up the march with the banners. They march down to the Ministry of Health. Rather than persuading the minister to come here as you did today, they go down there. They also have a homeless feeding program. We did this in Nairobi last week. I went out with a group from Hare Krishnas, huge vats of food, go out to the slums, and we fed 100 people on last Thursday. And they do this as a part of the Congress. No one else does this.
Go ahead and make war. Only others, women, and children die, are maimed, or suffer. You and yours will never have such disasters because the taxpayers fund your army to protect you.
Honorable viewers, We appreciate your presence today for the first Middle East Vegetarian or Meveg Congress on Words of Wisdom. Please join us tomorrow for part 10 of this inspiring conference. Coming up next is the endangered indigenous communities of the world, right after noteworthy news. May our world soon become a vegan paradise filled with love and compassion for all beings.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Chương trình của chúng tôi cung ứng nhiều ngôn ngữ. Xin xem suprememastertv.com/schedule và suprememastertv.com/WOW.
With profound, humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 1 of 4.
Etc.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds. Heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Műsoraink sok nyelvet tartalmaznak. Kérjük, tekintse meg itt suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Vegetarian Congress. Why do we do this? 4 basic reasons. One is religion, 2 is about the animals, 3 health, and 4 the environment.
Please stay with us to enjoy this illuminating Congress.
Vegan side effect? Your bank account will swell, not to worry.
Today's program will be presented in English with subtitles in Arabic, Alassis, also known as Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Korean, Mongolian, Persian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Thai, and Ukrainian or Uranian. Sieni is how are you in Albanian. We hope you are having a bright day filled with happiness. I'm Luriana. The peaceful Albanians appreciate the loving energy you radiate in your kindness to our animal friends and walk with you on the compassionate vegan path. Albania is a beautiful southern European country located in the western part of the Balkan Peninsula. Its gorgeous coastline stretches some 450 kilometers along the Adriatic and Ionian Seas. Covering the northern part of the nation are the forested North Albanian Alps, with national parks like Thet and many others throughout the country that reflect Albania's abundant natural wonders. Just 27 kilometers from the Adriatic coast is Albania's capital city, Tirana. This charming and vibrant city is full of lively and colorful buildings with grand boulevards, public squares, and pedestrianized streets. that are a pleasure to roam. As a country of diverse spiritual faiths, Albania is well known for its religious tolerance. The historic concept of Besa is considered a moral foundation for the harmony among its people. Besa, which translates as keeping one's promise, extends to all forms of agreements, as well as hospitality and caring for those in need. Albanians celebrate through many colorful traditions of song and dance, which vary by region. One distinctive form of Albanian music that has been inscribed in UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage List is isopolyphonic singing. Poetic lyrics are sung in a memorable style comprising 2, 3, or 4 voices. In December 2010, the first ever Middle East Vegetarian Congress was held at the Dubai International Exhibition Center, with the public invited to engage in an interactive exploration of the plant-based lifestyle. Organized by the Middle East Veg Group, or Meveg, supported by the Middle East Natural and Organic Product Expo 2010 and endorsed by the Dubai Health Authority of the United Arab Emirates. The event provided 2 days of seminars, workshops, and video telecasts with experts from around the world, along with rejuvenating veg cuisine. In addition, Supreme Master Chinghai, vegan, was specially invited to speak via live video link on being a vegan, an environmentally sustainable food choice, followed by a question and answer session with attendees and the launch of the Arabic edition of the international best-selling book, The Birds in My Life, which was already sold out pre-launch. The Birds in My Life was printed by United Printing and Publishing, a subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Media Company, or ADMC, owned by the government of Abu Dhabi. We now invite you to join us for part 10 of the conference titled The First Middle East Vegetarian or Meveg Congress, held in the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates on December 6, 2010, with John Davis, vegan, former International Vegetarian Union manager, who will explain the expansion of international vegan festivals and the success of vegetarian congresses, which are now regularly held throughout the world.
All of these African congresses, they all go out on the march with the banners. They march down to the Ministry of Health. Rather than persuading the minister to come here as she did today, they go down there. They also have a homeless feeding program. We did this in Nairobi last week. I went out with a group from Hare Krishna's, huge vats of food, go out to the slums and we fed 100 people on last Thursday. And they do this as a part of the Congress. No one else does this. There are poor, hungry people all over the world, but it's only the Africans who think we're doing it. There are lots of other places we should be. They brought in a lot of new ideas and new thinking about ways of organising these congresses. I learned an enormous amount from the time I've just spent in Africa the last few days. So we're hoping that this will continue to develop. Indonesia and China, and again, we've never done anything in either of these countries until last year, the 4th Asian Vegetarian Congress in Indonesia. totally unexpected. We had 1,000 people at this Congress. Absolutely huge. It was organised by the Indonesian Vegetarian Society, which started out as a Maitreya Buddhist organisation. When they changed their name to the Vegetarian Society, wanted to organise a World Congress, we said, great, but we're not having a Buddhist Congress. It's got to be everyone. And they really worked hard on involving other communities, other religious groups. The picture at the bottom left, this was by chance, I was sitting opposite these two young women at lunchtime. As you can see, the one on the left is obviously Muslim. The one on the right is a Seventh-day Adventist Christian. These two were the best of friends. They were everywhere together all week. And I just had to get a picture, given that this is a congress organised by Buddhists. And to me, this is just great. This is how it should be, everyone in together. The man on top right in the suit is Professor Duo Li from Hangzhou in China. He's actually organising the next Asian Vegetarian Congress in China. And that will be the first one we've ever had there. This was China last year. There was a food fair, as you can see in the picture at the top left, a vegetarian food fair, roughly 4 times the size of this food fair that we've got outside the organic fair here today. It's absolutely enormous. Combined with a Buddhist craft fair, as you can see in the other pictures. But the food fair was just completely vegetarian. Mostly being run by businesses from Taiwan that wanted to break into the Chinese market. There's just some more pictures from it. The top left, you've got the Great Wall of China and the Beijing Olympic flame. There's a plate of vegetables. I like doing their decorative vegetables. On the left, there was a lecture like this one. All the talks were in Chinese and they were just going around the whole time the Congress was on. Top right is me with our Chinese webmaster. I've worked with him for 12 years but never met him. And he had to keep a low profile because the Chinese government don't always approve of some of these things. But we finally met. One afternoon we had an international vegetarian forum. It was the first time anything like this has happened in China. 5 speakers, myself, we had Singapore, Indonesia, China, Taiwan, most of the audience with headphones. So it was a major step forward for us. And then, of course, last year, that was here, I think, somewhere near here, Meveg Congress. A bit like this, but a lot smaller. So now this is moving up a stage. And to me, it's just amazing to be here at all, having a vegetarian congress in the Middle East. 2 years ago, I could never have imagined this. So, there may not be thousands of people here, but for everyone who is, thank you for coming, because this is, for me, quite historic that we're here at all, just to have this happening. That's just a sort of collection of IVU in the 21st century, or really since 2004, because what we've done is try to put more energy into the developing world, instead of just Western Europe and America. Those pictures are Indonesia, China, Brazil, India, Dubai, Ghana, all over the world, getting things happening. 2010, the World Congress was held in Jakarta. When we arranged this, I didn't know what to expect. What they did just amazed me. Some pictures from it. We had the biggest food fair I've ever seen at the World Congress, completely vegetarian food fair. 5,000 people passed through, several hundred of them attending lectures. We had the most children I've ever seen at a Congress. Children's activities of all sorts. Metro TV set up a complete TV studio, that's a cookery gammon. We did a chat show from there as well. As you can see, bottom left, on a local Muslim school sent all their pupils for a whole day. A Catholic school sent their pupils for a whole day. The local university sent all their nutrition students for a whole day. So it was a huge achievement to get all this happening. My favourite picture is the one on the top right. What's Arash? Oh, stand up, Arash. This is Arash Rashidi from Iran, and he'll be speaking later. And Arash gave a talk in Jakarta. about himself and about Islam and about vegetarianism. And the amazing thing, you can just see the backs of their heads. The 5 guys in the front row are all from Afghanistan. And to me, being a Westerner and not knowing much about these things, to be in a meeting with a guy from Iran talking to 5 other guys from Afghanistan about vegetarianism was extraordinary. And these 5, they're all students in Jakarta. They go back in a few months and they say they're going to start the Afghan Vegetarian Society when they get back. That would be really something. To me, this was the best Congress we've ever had. Future organisers have got quite a job to live up to. I don't know if you can see in the bottom left picture, the guy speaking to the school children is Susianto Sen, he's our regional coordinator, and he was the mastermind behind this whole thing. The shirt he's wearing in that photo, you can't really see it very well, it's batik. It's actually the same as this. This is the uniform of the organising committee for the Congress. As soon as I saw it, I said, I got one of those. I got one, I wear it whenever I'm giving talks now. So after Jakarta, a few things, some that have just gone, some coming up. While I was in China, I met a guy who runs a restaurant in Beijing. He turns out to be a regular at this event in Los Angeles. So we're all meeting up all around the world. Islam is India and Southwest Asia. This was in Bangalore. Again, this is Shankar again. He's everywhere. A completely vegan congress in India. Unheard of and unthinkable a few years ago, but it happened. In China, this is the one I went to last year. They did it again this year, a different program, and I suggested that they get Professor Dio Li from Hangzhou as their keynote speaker. And they liked the idea of that, because they didn't know him, and he's an important professor, and would I introduce them and arrange it? So I put him in touch with them, and he went along as the main speaker. For me, it was very strange. I'd never heard of it until a year ago, to be the go-between of setting this up. This is what IBU should be doing. It's what we're all about.
Animals must be off the menu, because tonight they are screaming in terror in the slaughterhouse, in crates and cages. Vile ignoble gulags of despair. Philip Woolen, vegan.
Valiant viewers, thank you for your presence today for the first Middle East Vegetarian or Мeвег Congress on Words of Wisdom. Please join us tomorrow for part 11 of this illuminating conference. Coming up next is Happiness is Where the Heart Is, a New Year celebration with Supreme Master Chinghai, vegan, part 6 of 6. Right after noteworthy news. May the celestial light and melodies inspire us always.
Be vegan. Make peace. Do good deeds. Hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.